Let's call to order our workshop. You're not going here? Better? There we go. Okay, thank you. All right, so let's call to order our workshop for tonight, August 26, 2025. This is our second budget workshop. Our presentations for this evening, got a couple set. We got Public Works, we got our attorney, we have administration, we have Village Commission, and then of course we have all of our funds. So having kind of set the procedure, I think last time where we get our presentations, ask a couple of questions, then kind of go line by line. I think we'll just stick to that if everyone's good with that.
I have a question, procedural. So are we going line by line and we're approving this? Or because what I'm doing is I'm just giving my feedback, as this is the first time we see the budget on each one of the departments. But at what point all of this comes consolidated to us for a second review?
I think that's it. Mr. Manager, go ahead.
Yeah, so can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. So Commissioner, so we'll take your comments and we'll go back and make those corrections. And then at the first reading of the budget, we'll say what corrections we made from the workshop. And then we'll have a first reading of the budget at that time.
That will be the opportunity to consolidate everything you've and we'll get the chance to review that then.
At the first reading of the budget, we'll say what corrections we made from the workshops, right?
Okay. All right. Thank you. That's it.
Very good. The Vice Mayor has asked if we could do the Pledge of Allegiance before we start the meeting. I know we're not on here, but I've been happy to do it if you like. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that, please. Allegiance to under God, indivisible, with liberty. Of course, thank you.
Hey, Jonathan, before we start, I just got a quick question to ask, if you don't mind, because I'm not going to be here next week, and I've been biting at the bit to ask this question, but I can't ask it unless I'm here.
Okay.
So we I think like a week ago, we got a weird email from Will Tudor, former commissioner, stating that he spoke to one of the commissioners and that I had been put in this position illegally, and so we had to get the attorney to give a legal opinion and whatnot. So I was just curious who up here was the one that spoke to Will Tudor, if you don't mind letting me know, because I'm just curious, because I thought we were all clear on the fact that there was an election, and so nobody here, so Will Tudor just said one of the commissioners, and okay.
No, he actually sent me an email sending a whole kind of description of what he thought this was an illegal election. That's it.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Just curious. Thank you.
And to answer your question from my end, no, I did not speak with him. Okay. So our first presentation, we have Mr. Jenkins, public.
Sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Mayor.
Sure.
I don't see it on here, but public comment. We have some in the log cabin where we want to offer some public comments, not on our agenda, but
Yes,
things like
absolutely.
we do for public workshops.
I agree. Yes, absolutely. We should do that. So let's go ahead and do that because we have some folks here with us. We have at least one person on Zoom. So let's do that then. Let's open up for public comment here. We'll start with folks here in the log cabin for anyone who wants to provide public comment. Same rules apply for a standard meeting as they do for a workshop. Public comment is 3 minutes, and please provide a name and address. So I'll go ahead and open the floor here in the log cabin to anyone that would like to provide public comment. No? Okay. And on Zoom? Okay, so none for now then. Okay. All right, great. So having public comment, we'll close, having no public comment, and we will move on to our presentations, which first up I have Public Works. Mr. Manager, is there anything you want to introduce for us?
Yeah, so Mr. Mayor, so this is the second of our budget workshops, the second night of our budget workshops. Tonight, we'll have a presentation by the Public Works Department. The village attorney will make a presentation. We have administration, village commission, and then we'll go into our funds. And then at the end of each presentation, if you have questions, I think those are the times to answer or answer those questions. And as the commissioner had asked, we're taking notes. The finance director and I are both taking notes on questions you may have or issues that you may have as we go over the budget. And we'll try to make those corrections at before the first reading of the budget. We'll announce those at the first reading of the budget, what changes we made to the proposed budget that's currently online. And so that you're aware of those for the first reading. And then if there's any changes at the first reading that you are asking for, we'll certainly make those changes before the second reading.
Okay,
All right, so now I'll turn it over to John, who'll make the presentation on Public Works.
sounds good.
See me there?
Hey, how you doing? Good evening, everybody. Good evening to mayor, vice mayor, I'm saying commissioners, I'm saying village manager, staff. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's not on?
Give it a tap. I thought it was. No,
Yeah, hello, hello.
there we
Yeah,
go.
there we go.
Yeah, you might, John, you might just want to.
Oh, okay, so we're fixed now. Okay, that'll work, that'll
Thanks,
work.
It might be easier, John. Yeah.
Um, so I would just like to start off, you know what I'm saying? A good evening, everybody. And some public works, you know what I'm saying, activity report. The mission of saying the public works department is to, you know what I'm saying, to conduct, maintain, provide a safe and functional and aesthetic, pleasing, public infrastructure in the village of St. Biscayne Park for the residents and the visitors. Saying providing a high level of the customer service and responsibilities. Then as you see on the board, some of the things we do, saying maintain 6th Avenue, and that's an ongoing project. As far as the medians, the mowing, the tree trimming, the sprinkler system, so forth. So for this year, 2024, 2025, we pressure clean, you know what I'm saying, all the buildings. We also, you know what I'm saying, repaired all the sprinkler systems throughout the village, which will be on 6th Avenue, the Griffin Park, public, the saying Works Building, saying the Rec Center, and plus the Butterfly Park at 109th Street, 10th Avenue. We also do the road maintenance. We do some saying potholes, saying deleting signs that's been knocked down, and we clear the signs from, you know what I'm saying, overgrowth of trees and stuff. We also, you know what I'm saying, prepare, you know what I'm saying, for the hurricane. We already dropped, I'm saying, 3 loads of sand. So I'm saying if any one of the residents, I'm saying if they decide to go, I'm saying get sand, it's there. You can pick up as many bags as you need, and it's there. We also like to, I'm saying, improve the landscaping around the village, you know what I'm saying, entry side. We also planted some plants out there in front on 6th Avenue, saying 113th Street, but the sprinkler system, it had a leak in it, so we had to repair that, and now I'm in the process of getting some more plants to plant in now. So if we flip the page, we will go to the personal personnel, and the staffing. If you look on here now, 2024, 2025, we had a public works director and we had a supervisor. For 2025, 26, we no longer have a director and the supervisor, you know what I'm saying, position has been phased out to the manager position. And I am currently, you know what I'm saying, in that position. If we turn the page. Compensation. It pretty much speaks for itself. It's up there on the board. But if we go into detail, the difference in budget 2024-25 versus 2025-26. The total public works expenses went up 1%. Go to public works, saying highlights, the budget on the highlight. The public work department projected final expenditure for 2024, 2025. What I'm saying allows for a surplus. The proposed budget for 2025, 2026 is a 7,777 higher than the adopted budget, which leave a variance of $7,777. Accomplishments for this year. The following were the main achievements for the village 2024-2025. The department now processes invoice payments through GoGov. We also work with the department to accomplish a team environment. We also respond to after hours emergencies, which was something that happened at the beginning of the year. A car was struck and it hit a home. It went in the garage and we was out here, boarding up the home. We removed the fallen Australian pine tree that fell in the middle of the night. Respond to that. We also work with code doing the abatement houses. We continue to team with code department to mitigate violations of public properties, large trash pile, trimming overgrown trees, such, removing sharpened cars that has been dropped off through the village. And I think I already said that we prepare for the hurricane season. We're currently now, we have an agreement for storm drains to be cleaned twice a year so that the floods remain at a minimum. The goal and objective for 2025, 2026. The following goals and objectives are anticipated accomplishment for the upcoming fiscal year, 2025, 26. The log cabin. We want to upgrade, the roof on the log cabin. The trees, planting the tree planting where all the Australian pines were removed. Saturday, the coverage. We plan to assign a employee for Saturday coverage to maintain the medians free of trash and debris and remove debris from roadway. Be able to respond to requests for service. Tree maintenance program. Develop a tree maintenance program. We have a lot of trees in the village that need the canopies lifted up. Public works, building. We plan to demolish the roof and replace the roof on the garage because we public works facility, clean up the exterior, organize the equipment and supplies. On interest side, I think I already remember that. I said that, but to install the remaining, interest sign that we have at the yard now. We have 4 of the metal signs that need to be placed in the median. And the landscape improvement. Improve the overall look for the exterior for all the village building, landscape, and enhancements. And that's about it for my first one. Sorry about that. It's short and sweet, but that's what I
Thanks, John.
got. Thank you.
So John, before you vacate the podium there, I just want to ask the commissioner if there are any questions for you on the presentation you've just provided to us, okay?
John, thank you for the presentation, and thank you for what your department does. You guys really do a great job keeping our village looking beautiful. The maintenance, I see it out there. I see you guys working hard. I see when the grass is mowed and things change. You're not appreciated enough, or you are appreciated, but you don't hear it enough. That
Thanks, sir.
you guys do a great job.
Thanks, sir.
And I would just, all in comment I have is I love that we kept the facility worker 3 in there, and I hope you get that position very soon. I know you guys need the help out there. That's all I got.
I have a question, but I think
Mhm.
this is more a question for Al than it is for you, John.
All right.
Why do we foresee a surplus of $136,000 in the 2024-25 budget? And then why are we asking for more money in 25-26?
Dollars is projected. We have some projects that are still in the pipeline. So that may be a lot less than $136,000. And the increases that you see, or that 1%, is mainly it was storm preparation. That increased by 31% because we're doing it twice a year now. We're cleaning the drains twice a year. Before, I think we were only doing it once if we were doing that. That was a 31% increase. And then our health insurance went up 38%. And that's the bulk of the increase. But overall, it's a 1% increase from last year.
So you're foreseeing spending $136,000 the next 2 months?
We hope to, not all of that, Commissioner, but we do have some projects in the pipeline that are going to impact that amount.
Just from a budgetary perspective, when I see that amount of money in a surplus, and then you're asking for more money, it just, to me, I've always been told if somebody budgets you money, use it, because now you're coming and telling us that we have a surplus of 136,000, but you want to add an additional 7,000. So what I would have liked to have seen from my perspective is the breakdown of why we have such a surplus at this point. Because to me, it doesn't make sense, first of all, to have that kind of a surplus. And then that you're asking for more money based on the fact that you already have a surplus this year of $136,000. Just keep that in the back of your mind that for me, that doesn't equate.
Okay.
You just answered my question. Are we proceeding, what kind of, are we gonna get a water truck? Is that gonna be?
No, it's not, we haven't budgeted for a water truck, no.
You think we need one? I think we need one.
Yeah, I think we have the ability to order now, John. Yeah. So we have uh, um, a, f- a a trailer with a unit on it. So, yeah, so I don't think there's a need for a water truck right now.
This is not meant towards him because I think you're doing a good job. Are we going to try to get, sorry, trying to get a manager that's gonna, that's gonna run it? I mean, I think he's doing a good job and I talked to you already about that. You apply for it and I think you have a good shot at it, but I think we do need a public works director.
Yes, so we haven't advertised for it, but we're putting the word out there that we're looking for the right person, because I think over the years, we've had such a turnover, and we don't want that to happen in the future. So we want to make sure we hire the right person. We just don't want to open it up and get anybody, but we
you
want to
got-
hire somebody that's going to be staying here for a long time
And
to,
you have that in the budget, right?
well,
No,
we can
That's,
move some money around. Well, I think if we find the right person, we'll be able to hire that right person.
yeah, added 100.
I think, I had the same question that Commissioner Gonzalez. I think for me is, if we're remaining some money to use, we're asking more, sort of why do we need more when the structure? So you had, no, sorry, 7 to 6 people. And then I think I'm worried about what you're saying, maybe that if there is a balance to hire someone, I would like to see a commitment that we have a structure in place and we're budgeted for that structure beforehand. That's part of the process for the workshop. So if the idea is to go for a director, somewhere along this year, when do you think that would happen? What the impact would be? I think that's a conversation. I do think that expertise Mr. Peña brought was very relevant to the village. I certainly can tell, that is needed in terms of the head of the department and the vision for the village long term. But I would leave it up to you as to, whether that's recommended based on what you see, the staff is needed and all. But I don't see a lot of sense on reading the numbers, this increase over the spends we've had. And I think we'll go into detail. I think the first 2 pages of my key question is what.
Right, so just to reiterate, there's 2 projects in the pipeline. There's we're looking to put in an electric gate at the Public Works facility with a key card access. The contractors have came out, did the measurements. We haven't got a price back yet. I estimate it's probably about $15,000 for that project. And then the other project is the Public Works storage yard. It needs a whole new roof. That building may have to come down. So I'm waiting for a report. We had an engineer come out, take a look at it. And just from what he verbally said to us, that the structure need to come down. So, and that's, you're looking at maybe $40,000 for the demolition. But we'll let you know on that.
But Al, to be fair, these were budgeted items. This 136,000, the gate wasn't a budgeted item, right?
The gate was budgeted for $5,000.
Was it, well, it was budgeted for
For $5,000, yes.
And then what about the building?
The building, it was not, it's in CIP, okay.
Okay, so, right. So these are not budgeted. This is money that was just simply not used. So if we only have 5,000 out of the 136, you have money there that we just didn't use, and we just need to understand why it wasn't used, in my opinion, so that we have clear understanding, because again, you're asking for more money, but you have a surplus based on the budget of this year of $131,000, $132,000.
Yeah, so I think, Commissioner, to answer your question, there was two major purchases that were budgeted that we didn't buy the two equipments. The- Yeah, the-
That came too close to about 40,000 total between the two, didn't it?
Was 38,000 for that.
Okay.
and then and also that we had a cost savings in the position we didn't fill. That was budgeted for the entire year.
That was another 41.
Yeah.
The director position.
And,
No, the worker
work-
2, worker 3.
Worker
position.
3 was budgeted for, and we haven't been able to fill that position. We may reclassify that to a labor. We were hoping that somebody from the inside would get that certification and move up, but it doesn't look like anybody's taking that
Okay,
opportunity.
perfect.
So-
Well, you know, it would have been helpful just to understand that from the get-go.
Mr. Manager, can you answer a question for me? If the AC broke in this building right now, what budget would that come out of to replace it? An unexpected expense to replace the AC in this building?
Yeah, it would probably come out of Public Works. We would find money to move money around to make that purchase.
If the roof had to be replaced at rec center, where would the money come out of to replace the rec center roof? Public Works?
Wouldn't that be the general fund be an amendment? Like reserves?
Well, we would look for money both in Public Works Department and,
My point is there's unexpected expenses that sometimes having a surplus in a department like Public Works, they maintenance a lot of different equipment around this village, and I think having that surplus is vital. If we have that, I think it's a positive thing, not a negative thing to me.
I agree with you, having a surplus is a good thing, but then don't come back and ask us for more money if you already have a surplus there. No, I understand. That's the point.
Yeah, I think that's the reason for the budget, otherwise we would always leave a certain percentage open for discussion. I think here is, what do you expect to use it for?
Right, and at the end of the year, what I usually do, Commissioner, is I asked for the finance director to tell me at the end of the year, what percentage of each department did they fully utilize their budget, whether 90%. Our goal is 90%, 90 to 95%. But if some department director is only using 80%, yeah, we're looking at that and seeing why did that occur. But I think in Public Works Department, our goal is to use 90% of the budget this year.
I think we're going to see more in the details if we do go line by line. One question overall is, so did you set these objectives for John? So are these the ones reflected here, something you determined for the department on page 8?
So John drafted this up, and then John and I both talked about it. Yes. So John had originally drafted it. I gave my input, and this is the final outcome.
So how do you, so I guess this eventually, and the hope is that this eventually fits into a evaluation for the department, for employees, to make sure that that's sort of happening, right?
Yeah, each director will have, I'll share with you once I do them, and I'll do them in October, we have a professional performance agreement that we have with each director, and it sets out the goals for the upcoming fiscal year.
And then, so Saturday coverage, is that something already within the budget? It's just moving or?
It's just moving a person
Yeah.
to, his new days off would be Sunday and Monday.
Got it. Okay.
No increase to the budget.
John, thank you. I know we included in preparation for hurricane season, the accomplishments section there. The drain cleaning, obviously the sand falls within the same
Yes,
section.
yes.
What about the pumping contract? That's the contract to pump the floodwaters. That's not, we don't pay for that unless we use it. Is that correct?
Yes, so that's an unforeseen expense.
Because we don't know until we use it.
Yeah, and we don't know it's going to be used we'll find money for that if we need to occur, or that comes under our FEMA expenses also.
Okay. I was curious just because, we have the drains of the sand and I just didn't see it among the items listed. Yeah, I had already identified as some of the surplus, some of the things that we hadn't spent on, some of the things we discussed, John, last time you were with us a year ago. Things like the equipment, the things like the position, and then the gate. But I am very happy to hear that we are getting that quote for the gate, because every time I drive by Public Works, I see the old chain link there, and I hate looking at it. So I'm glad to hear, based on the security concerns that you identified to us last year, that we're going to be fixing that. All right, so let's take a look at the line by line. I'm just going to work through these just code by code and just ask if anyone has anything that they want to ask or focus on in each of these as we work through it. So within the Public Works budget, the first code that I have is the regular salaries, which is line item 12. Are there any questions or anything that wants to be discussed with respect to to these three line items here?
The only question that I have is, if we are in fact going to look for a director, shouldn't we budget for it and just put it in there? Because at the end of the day, we're going to have to figure out that money at some point.
So let's get a better understanding of that then, Al, if we could. I know putting the idea out there, trying to work within the communities and identify the right candidate for the role is one thing, but with an intent to hire that person and have someone act as a director of that position, would you say it's more former or latter? Because if it's more of the latter, and we want to actually focus on trying to bring somebody into that department, John, I know you're sitting here with us. No disrespect to you. You've done a great job in the position that you've been in, and we certainly appreciate all your hard work. But how do you foresee that happening within this upcoming fiscal? Do you foresee that actually coming? Because if that's the case, then we may want to look at allocating money to that.
And I just add that if your decision is to continue on and let John run the department, that's also something that we can discuss, and I'm open to that as well. If that's the direction that you want to, at the end of the day, these are people work for you. You know them better than we do. So we just need to understand. I mean, for me, I need to understand what it is you want to do with that department, especially obviously budget for budget purposes.
Right, so, I think I need to have that conversation with you individually, with each of the commission individually. But I think John's doing a great job. I don't know if we're falling, if you're perceiving that we're falling short in anywhere.
I don't know that it's, sorry, I apologize. I don't know that it's coming from the position of they're not doing their job or they're falling short. I think sounds like me, the inquiry is more, is there an intention to have a more traditional director role? And if that's the case, would it be a separate line item that we should be contemplating in the budget?
Okay, I'll have that conversation with you each individually before the first reading of the budget.
So at this point, the way that you're foreseeing this department working, a line item wouldn't fit within the budget for the upcoming fiscal, from your opinion. Okay. Okay, understanding that is going to be forthcoming. Are there any other questions about the regular salaries? No? Okay.
So these are all part of this CBA or not? This is.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
so
they are.
that-
They're all
nothing-
members of CBA.
Okay. Item 14, overtime. Any questions there? I know obviously we haven't spent all that, but there's still time to spend that. Do you foresee spending that? Does that line item?
Oh, well, we have Halloween coming up, so there's overtime for Halloween that we have spent, I think, last year too.
Yeah.
Next year, so.
What was this?
Or maybe we're still in the storm seasons too, so yeah, hurricane season, we're in the
Right.
midst of the hurricane season.
Dollar balance to be on it.
Yes, it can.
Yes.
We're seeing expenses, things, and
We
you're
used
still
to place to keep that.
tree could come down, anything could happen.
Certainly.
What has been in the past, Paul? Which line is that?
Line item 14.
13?
It was adopted last year at 5,000.
All right.
Proposed again at the same.
We've had
spent
years of
1,000,
4 to
yeah.
3,000, so an average.
Okay. So employee bonuses, item 15,
Contractual.
contractual, no change there. FICA Medicare. No change. Well, a slight increase there, but
Just can I ask
Yeah.
a question on 15? So it says contractual, it's employee bonuses 3 times 500. That's,
People at 500, yes.
okay, so that's 1,500, right? Why is it 3,100?
In case the positions are full. Right now, they're not. You have a vacancy.
So each one of the positions, the 7 positions will have,
No.
no.
Just the laborers. It's in their contract.
Okay, so we have 3 potentially to hire an extra. That'll put you,
Now, I think it might have, the little detail, the 3 at 500 might be old. I'll check that. but-
I think
Okay.
if memory serves, I think we chose to exceed the bonus and we upped it last year. I think 500 is contractual and we chose as a commission to exceed that. I have to divide it out and figure out what that was or I got to go back and rewatch the meeting to see what we decided was, but we decided to exceed the 500.
Yeah, wasn't on the commission. We remember they did that.
so then as far as this one goes, Paul, if we could update that number just so it doesn't, at least from first glance, appear confusing anymore, please. Okay. FICA Medicare, obviously. Not much we do there with that. The retirement contribution up slightly. Health insurance, that's one of the larger increases, obviously, there.
what's driving this and health insurance? I mean, it's a 50% increase.
Health insurance?
Market rate.
Yeah, it's just overall, Commissioner, every year it's going up. So we actually look, our insurance broker looks for other providers to see what's the best cost and,
And this is based
This
on
is-
an estimate you already have. So this is actual numbers.
right, yes.
Okay. Workers' comp, that's no change. That's a plus. Okay, so contract services down on item 34. No change in janitorial, well, we have a small spend in other services.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
The custodian falls, you said goes under 0. Where's that? Who does that go under, the custodian?
I have trouble hearing you.
I'm sorry. The other services, the custodian, it says 0, you're projecting, who pays for that?
Contract services, Paul, under item 34.
Yeah, I see it.
Who does that come under?
That's where it was coded, what it was detail wise. I could look that up.
Yeah,
Give us the
because it says 0, and I know we have custodian.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Right. Right, but we're projecting 0. The point is, if it was projected 6, you spend 640, 650, how can you say you're gonna have 0? Where that's gonna be budget? I think that's all I really wanna know.
Yeah, I think it comes under contractual services. That's where it's put.
Thank you.
Okay, so item 40, the travel and per diem is not changed. Communications, we have the reduction in the phone allowance, and that's because we're rolling it into the larger plan, correct?
Yes.
And before they weren't? They never were a part of the plan?
They were part of the plan, but I think it was a different plan that we're moving to a AT&T now, and they'll be part of AT&T.
Was this line item under the old Helium plan that we were a part of?
I believe so, yes, Mayor.
650 is a plumbing repair.
The finance says that 650 was a plumbing repair. That's what that expense
Oh, back
was.
to the
Yeah, was 650.
well, I was going to say the other services, but yes, naturally would be related to a bathroom, sure.
Thought the custodian was responsible. Not sure.
Okay, so the phone allowance reduction is coming from the switch over from the Helium plan to the new plan that we're going to be adopting. Is there any change with the ADT alarm system if we're going to be moving to the new gate system? Or is that going to stay in place?
No, that's going to stay in place.
Just
Yeah,
separate?
yes.
Okay.
And we actually upgraded. They weren't working, and John was able to reach out to them. It's up and working now.
The ADT, the sensors,
Yes, at
Yeah.
the facility.
that would be important. Thank you, John. Okay, so there's no reduction, no change in Comcast or ADT. Okay, so our next line items are fall under 43 utilities. There's quite a few more here. Are there any questions or anything anyone wants to address with these ones? It looks, yeah, static.
Rental and leases, that just hasn't hit yet the books, I'm guessing, on 44.
44 rentals and leases, equipment, water cooler. Is that right? That we haven't seen them hit for this fiscal yet?
Are they expected for the rest
No,
of?
there's no more lease. I don't know if you'll make-
Okay,
The lease is complete on the flatbed in 2022. We just leave it in there because it's a vehicle. We keep track of vehicles.
Okay,
Show it as a zero. The new vehicle added to the department in 2023 is reflected there.
the Ford.
Yeah, the Ford.
Yep.
And then the following two pieces of equipment were theorized and never realized.
So before we get to that, the equipment in the water cooler, I think that's what you were talking about, Commissioner, was the equipment in the water cooler budget at about $3,300 total together, but it's not year-to-date spent. That by the time we had these year-to-date numbers, had it just not hit the budget, that's why it was at zero.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
It's not.
are you expecting a charge of $3,200 here? What is equipment and for 1,000?
There's no specific item there. It's just a budget placeholder.
And then the
The
water
cooler, we'll double check that, but I think we've been paying that through because they get a better deal with they use the Park and Recs delivery, so it might not be allocated here, but that can be corrected.
Okay, so I'll let you check on
Yeah.
those because that might be a saving that you have.
So quick question on the tractor backhoe and the wood chipper. I know, John, you'd come to us a year ago saying that this would be helpful. Where do we stand on that?
So looking at overall, Mayor, we look at how many times a year you're going to use that, and it'd be more effective, efficient for us if we just contract out to those services during the time of the year that we use it. But if you're purchasing it, then you have to store it somewhere, and we don't presently have nowhere to store it. So it's not feasible to make that huge purchase
That
if you don't have a place to store it.
That would be an important part of the equation. If you're going to buy it, then maintain it and make sure it doesn't break down. Okay. All right. Are there any other questions on 44? Oh, no. Okay. 45. So, the property and liability insurance, any questions here? I know, I believe, Mr. Manager, the flood insurance reduction had to do with the rewriting of those flood maps, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And so for anyone that was unaware, these flood maps can be rewritten. So they were rewritten to pull this out of the mandatory zone because they don't flood. Therefore, we're not required to carry the flood insurance. Is that accurate?
And right, and we're going to be self-insured from now on.
Okay.
So.
What are you saying?
Well, I don't know if we're still in a flood zone, but we're going to be self-insured. We had looked at, all the buildings are free and clear. We're not required to have a flood insurance. So, there's a cost savings there. If you're looking back, I think we had a 100-year storm and we weren't impacted during that 100-year storm. So, we just made the decision to become self-insured.
That was like June of 24, correct?
That we had the 100-year storm.
Right,
Yeah.
correct. Okay. Okay, any questions there? No, hearing none. Okay. 46, repairs and maintenance, equipment, buildings.
What falls in here? That we only have 7 out of 40 used.
The question I don't understand. That we only use 7. What? This is the re-rack to do the tree removal. So you pulled a bunch, all these, you didn't have these expenses and you used it here.
Right.
That's what happened. So you're under 46,200 and
46, correct?
yeah, so the original allocations were rebundled. I believe it was presented at the beginning of the year to you to remove the Australian pines. So that expense is in there. And so it was a re-rack of the expenses from within the Public Works budget to cover that project.
So should this be somewhere else than as an expenditure?
Not necessarily. You can interpret it any way you want, but to track where the funds came from, it was appropriate to leave it in Public Works where the funds came from.
Okay, but I'm saying, where's the spent? I see the adopted.
Are we on the same page? Because the 97,500,
Oh, okay, no, I'm at 46. Hold on.
Yeah.
So I was
Yeah, are you ahead of him?
did I
46.
go up too far?
Yeah, we were on 46, repairs and maintenance.
Oh, I was,
0-0.
all right. So under the equipment and building, they just haven't spent it. It's just that simple. That one.
Or if you need to replace an AC or you need to replace something.
So
like that.
what are you contemplating this? Is that something is specific to equipment and building that we need to buy? Just let me rephrase this, or let me state, this has been sitting in the budget since fiscal 2023. So it's the same line. I was looking over past budgets and we've had that over and over. I'm trying to understand what that is and that we haven't spent it.
Well, sorry. You mean the buildings expense, correct? Yeah,
Equipment and building, both for 40,000.
over the years, they've always budgeted all the potential repairs to the building. They knew there was a roof, but the engineers were still analyzing, et cetera. So I mean, I'm quickly retracing why, but that's, departmental level detail, but that's not unusual for Public Works to have done that in this.
Right. So the engineer that we just hired, and he's already come out and made an assessment of the building. That fee, he hasn't billed us yet, but that fee will come out of repairs and maintenance. And also if he tells us, hey, the building's not salvageable, and we determine to demolish it, that fee is going to come out of repairs and maintenance, and we'll try to do that before October 1st.
So like, we just had this building treated for termites. That would consider building maintenance. That would come under.
Yes,
under
yeah,
the-
and yes, and
That's
that
what-
bill hasn't
you
gone
just-
through yet.
You
Yeah.
can't anticipate everything happening throughout the year. You have to have a little bit of leeway, and that's what these line items are for.
What have we spent in the past, Paul, on this line item?
The history is back up in the original, the top page, which shows that building repair and maintenance in 2021 was 36,000, in 2022 was 32,000, 15,000 in 23, 67,000 in 24. So you could probably see why it was bumped up in
Mhm.
25 and retained again in the proposed 26.
Okay.
So it had 100% increase or more than 100%, 220%.
It's a bit of a moving target.
Yeah, it's what do you buy? It's a resource, it's an asset that we know has some wonderful problems.
City manager, in reference to, it says termite insurance, we just had this place tinted. We don't take insurance in case we have to get
And
tinted.
in this treatment that we just had, it had in the contract, it had a recurring expense to have it continue the treatment. So it wasn't part of the insurance. So it's just part of the.
Don't you pay insurance in case you have to tint it again? It is,
Yeah,
it is.
it's built into the price
Yeah,
of the
okay.
contract. Yeah.
Okay. Landscape maintenance, 46.
I already answered that one, sorry.
Yes, you did. You were a little ahead of us.
That's the same number. This was the only amount expensed.
Yeah. So there was 38 trees. We only took down 30 trees. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
new installations versus end capping. I have the history on that. The tree planting is typically the matching portion of a $20,000 project. You get a Dade County grant of about 10,000 for trees. You match it with 10. That's typically what that was used for, the tree program. I don't think you're doing it this year, or are you? I don't know. Historically, that's what that was for. The end capping is obviously just the medians, and then general installations could be, that's it. That's all of them. They're combined, but yes. It's evolved into kind of a blurry topic, hasn't it? And that's because it was done like this over years, where the commission would identify they wanted to spend extra money on end capping, and so it became a specific type of planting, for instance. To me, my honest recommendation to you is to get rid of all of this detail and just say this is your maintenance installation money. That's what I would do. This is just literally the act of planting in the material, correct? Existing. Well, typically it's existing. You've never added an area per se. You've upgraded. That's how I would characterize it. But ideally, just to take, sort of take a step back, and what's trying to be done with you all to make this an easier process is the manager's report gives you those details. The budget is just how much we want to spend. That's really how this level of detail should, doesn't belong in the budget, because it always looks weird, because every year you might change it a little differently, and you end up always being confused. But the line item is planting and maintenance.
So is it then my understanding, your recommendation to take these first three line items and combine it into one larger landscape?
Right. And then the manager's report is going to be incorporated into the budget, and it would, if it were something unique, it would identify it.
Well, and to answer your question also too, just to bring me back on the 10,000 match, I'm pretty sure Dade County with their budget slashes got rid of that program the last time I talked.
Probably
about
why I
it.
haven't heard of it.
So
Yeah.
exceeded the tree canopy to qualify for that.
We ran out of places for trees.
Yeah.
Also, I remember that being a problem. But
Yeah.
I think don't quote me, I think it's like 30%, and we've exceeded 30% tree canopy. So
we weren't
we
eligible.
don't qualify anymore to apply.
But for years, that was what that was for. But that's my recommendation, is to consolidate this. It may be next budget cycle, this time next year, it will be at that step. This was like the interim step, but
Mm.
that's what that manager's report is supposed to do, is give you the granularity. You ask the manager, not me and Al, like that's their job, so to speak. Not that we can't do it or don't want to do it, but that's the detail you need. And this is how much do you want to invest in it?
So just, oh, no, I just wanted to make sure, bottom line, I understand tree planting, end capping, landscaping, tree trimming, plantings. Put those all into one line item and make that line item 25, 30, what's that, 55, 65,000?
Which ones?
The first three, 204, 205, 206.
Well, new installations,
New
wouldn't it be new
installation,
installations?
what
New installation.
Plants.
I'm interpreting installation as something different. I see installation, I think like sign installation, not
Well, that's the next one down below is.
sign installations. There we go. All right. So we got a fourth one then.
Yeah, when I saw new installations, I thought that's
Just
the
say
trees are
landscape
replacing Victorian
maintenance
pine.
with all.
But then above that, we have tree
planting.
planting and planting
Yeah.
and
I
installation.
think it should all be just landscape maintenance.
Can you let us know what the spend was in prior years to this? So you have
Easy.
from 24 on, what have we had as a total? Because again, adding all of this that you're suggesting, right now we have 81 for adopted, 81 for projected. What was before?
So in landscape maintenance, those numbers were all over the place historically, because they might include a major tree trimming project of all the medians, well then, or work from a hurricane restoration or whatever. So in 21, it was 77,000. In 22, it was 53,000. 23, it was 33,000. 24, 11,000. Give you a little, and then in 25, you're obviously at over just about 100,000 so far to date. So it's really, I mean, to me, I know the common denominator is staffing, like, and managers. When you managers and your staffing are in fluctuation, your projects
Yeah.
go idle.
All right, so I'm more inclined to have an area related to trees specifically because I think that was the original call. As you said, the 10,000 was assigned to go and try to get a grant. If that's not longer the opportunity, then how do we maintain our current canopy? Then the other, for me, the
Yeah,
biggest,
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but that's more of that's called programmatic budgeting. You've never done a lot of programmatic budgeting, which one day you will, because that gives you performance measures, it gives you a bunch of stuff. So
yeah,
that's not who you've been,
yeah,
and it's not, you can't leap into that because you lose the continuity of information too quickly. So I'm with you. You're right where you need to go, but it's going to take another full budget cycle and work from your managers and your directors and your village manager to identify program enhancements, for instance, or program shifts.
yeah.
Those become just what you described, and they're a little more complicated to roll in because it confuses everybody
It
that it's.
requires a different detail.
Yeah, so you're, I'm just being hypothetical, but your manager would say, we've recognized we have this problem
Yeah,
in the report, and this is how I'm going to fund it, and this is where it lives in the budget. And once you say, yeah, we want that, you don't care how it's identified, you're paying for the program.
got
That's
it.
the logic, and that's really what a policy board is intended to be, how you're supposed to be thinking. The history, to go too far, is you were a strong manager form of government at one, or strong mayor form of government at one time. And so that's why you have all these line items in front of you, is your history.
So for me, I think the biggest thing is that I want to do due diligence with what happened with the Australian pines. And for me, this is the opportunity to budget here what we need to replace that in a plan that treats it as urgent as it was removing them. So I don't want to fall short budgeting for that. And so when I see the trend that you describe has been minimizing year over year, and it goes down from 80 to 11,000, you said, and then we came here and cut all these trees. So I am looking to match what we did. You know, if we can spend 120 and adjust, and part of it comes through grants, hopefully relieving us from that investment. But I want to put the commitment forward in the budget that we're there to spend it and do right for the greenery that we haven't been, we've been allocating but not doing much for years now. I mean, those are the numbers you just read. So, we had 97 here. We put in 15 adopted and 15 for proposed. I would go and increase that in a way. Yeah, go ahead.
So
Could be capital plan.
yeah, so that type of
Okay.
logic
Yeah.
today fits in our CIP. That's a
figured-
capital
I figured
investment.
That's where you were going to
Yeah,
say.
so when you go to that budget, you would say to the manager and us, say, if you did it all together, I'm assuming you all agreed to it, you would say, we want to allocate 100,000 of the CIP
Yeah.
to that need. And then we would put it in there, manager would it would fill out, and you would put a date on completion sometime. I don't know how that would play out, but from a budget process, once you say you have a goal or a target, we tell you what part of the budget it goes in and you approve it.
Okay. So yeah, I guess I'm just trying to understand what we're allocating all this money for, if that is just not generic maintenance. And how this kind of combines with the CIP then on what we do.
Well, I wouldn't want to see us take any money away from landscaping and maintenance, and at least from this part of it, from planting, from new installations, from tree trimming. I would, understanding that we have our manager in place now and knowing that we've been kind of going downhill, I'd like to see that come back up now. And I think the manager knows that that's an important priority for us, and that we will also focus on it in CIP too. I wouldn't change this because I personally don't want to take any money away from this aspect of the village. So I would be comfortable with it. And then of course revisit it. Commissioner, as you mentioned,
I'm talking about adding to it. I think part of it may come from the CIP, and that's a conversation to have.
Certainly.
Not to diminish it in any way. And then also just to understand then in the future, what is what is budgeted here so that we can track it the same way. You know, this is our, but this is not necessarily contracted services, or is it? So it could be that we hire a company
It's been whatever worked, and many times, to the credit of your Public Works Department, I can say many times they did a lot of the work themselves. Larger projects, the grant project, that required a bid, and they would help identify the locations, but they didn't plant them. So it was a mixture. You also have, there's a mention on the worksheet about Park and Parkways Advisory, and they oftentimes have volunteers, I believe, that do some of this work. We've seen that happen too. So there's a lot of moving parts and a lot of inputs into this service role of your Public Works Department, and it's certainly one of the more visible.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, when it gets funded and performed by every possible option, it's hard to match year over year.
So I think
Certainly.
it would be okay, as you were proposing, Jonathan, in terms of sort of shrinking it all in
Oh, yes.
I'll do that.
couple.
I
like-
took that.
Gloss right over that.
Yes, yes.
Everything but sign installation.
Yeah, so we'll consolidate that into one line item. Thank you for
That's
reminding me.
by itself.
Was it 15,000? Was that?
15,000.
It's
new
1,000 for sign installation. Yeah, I think the department director mentioned, or manager said he had a couple left still to install.
We still have those signs, I think that was paid for, was donated years ago. Is that the signs we're going to be using?
Yeah, the same signs that are out there now.
Yeah.
We're just, there's a couple other locations that we're looking at to place them.
Okay. Okay, great. So our next line item is 49. It's kind of a catch-all. We have our storm prep and response, contingency, storm drain maintenance, as you mentioned, the contract to clean the storm drains. Any questions on this one? The gate installation, actually, I see here, it's still allocated there.
Yeah, it's allocated for $5,000. I think it's going to be a lot more
Okay.
than that. But
Well, because it's going to be done before we
yes,
get into the new fiscal.
we've got the bid, we got the quotes, so we're expecting to get the quotes in the next couple of days. So
Okay.
yeah, we'll get that project underway.
Commissioner, he's saying that that'll be done on this fiscal before this budget we're working on comes.
So it's going to be zero for next year because it's already going to be done.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Yes, in here. So, the storm prep and response, that's because you haven't also allocated expenses against those 10,000? That is in 49. You have 10,000 and nothing spent next to it.
Correct. He just ordered the sand, those types of things. So none of it's hit your accounting yet.
Okay. And then, the storm drain maintenance. So 25 would be to clean every drain twice a year. Is that how it works?
There's half of it is hopefully in the CITT roads, and this is the other half to do it twice a year fully.
So the
Right.
25 here allocated would be to clean them once, and then the other portion comes from the CI.
Yes, and sometimes storm prep pays for a quick cleaning of any problem children drains they know about. So it starts to blend a little bit for different purposes, but it's important to track it separately.
Which other budget did you say?
CITT,
Okay.
and that's
CITT.
aspirational budgeting
Remind me.
in CITT because we don't know if we get it.
So at least we'll have the money to do it once. Hopefully, if we get it, to do it twice. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think storm cleaning is an elastic concept. You do it.
Yeah.
And take the money from wherever you have to when you have floods and stuff. So
Only 3 more months of hurricane season.
It's amazing. Also, whether it was the total number we got, Al, it was over 100 drains we have in the village, and we have the most comprehensive list we've had ever, I think. And so I don't think anybody realized how expensive that was going to be once we realized how many drains we actually have.
Yeah. No, it's nice that we finally do have that. Okay. So moving on to operating supplies, 52. 52, we have general, which is unchanged for adopted and proposed. Looks like it went a little over. And then the only other change down here I see is for the radios. It's a one-time purchase. Any questions?
Is that pending to happen, the radios? Are you getting radios? What of this is still to come?
John, what's the status of, you had a budget to order radios last year? Did you, this year? So I think, yeah, Miami-Dade donated, and it's part of the police lease.
Okay.
Fantastic.
So it's probably budgeted there. And the draft budget that's in front of you had two errors that we identified through our monthly sorting and spreadsheets. We found there were some engineering expenses being put under operating supplies for Public Works. Those have been removed. So your actual, where it shows 22,000 year to date, that'll be back down to well below budget. When
Okay.
you see the final version of the draft budget,
And so the
might have
radio,
some
so
update.
Okay.
that's budget that it in essence is a saving for this year that you have. The 2,500 radios.
Yes. Yeah, it's not necessary.
Janitorial supplies.
They share expenses with Parks and Rec, and there might be another bill or two that hits here, but right now there haven't been any.
Okay. And what was the expenses before for janitorial supplies that you had in previous year?
Oops. Just a second. I go back to the beginning.
Under 52, 52,002. Oh,
Yeah, it was under operating supplies. It wasn't broken down as it's not broken down as a specific line item, but the budget historically was 29,000, 26,000, 23, it was only 18,000, 2024 it's 58,000. And then year to date, you're at 29,000. So
And this is what is included on the 29? Oh,
and there were a few $1,000s of improper posting there. So we believe we'll be fine with the proposed 25,
okay.
510.
Okay. Dues and memberships, looks like that might just be one that hasn't hit this fiscal. $500. Okay.
have we spent anything in the past here for dues and memberships?
Historically, yes.
Yeah.
Some managers were members of different public works.
In the case we have a director and manager.
I think it's a fair thing to leave there, just in case.
And education and training around
Same thing.
within the same ballpark there. That's the last item I have for Parks and or Public Works, excuse me. Any other questions we haven't addressed? No? Okay. All right, so let's. All right, lost my place. There it is. Okay. So Brad, we have you up next for Village Attorney.
Do it from the dais, or you want me to do it from the podium?
Do it from here.
So, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commissioners, I sent you all an email a few days back. I have copies of the spreadsheets that I provided. I also have some for people in the log cabin if they want to see them as well.
Okay.
You all have, per your agreement, you all are paying for legal services to the firm $8,333 a month, which equates to $99,996 per year. We did a calculation of what that came out to with billable hours based on that annual rate from invoices from October of 2024 through July 31st of 2025. And essentially what that equated to as an hourly rate is $93.04 an hour is what you've been paying for legal fees over those 10 months. I can tell you that just to give you some reference, when Mr. Truitt came in as the manager, when he first came in, the amount of billable hours went up considerably from the previous manager, and then they dropped off considerably. And essentially, what happened is, a lack of better terms, he didn't like the advice he was getting because he wasn't able to do what he wanted to do. Wasn't very familiar with Florida law, and then ultimately just stopped asking questions and just did what he wanted to do and accomplished what he wanted to do, and then would come to me when things didn't kind of went awry to try to fix them. When Mr. Childers came in as the interim, obviously you all aware he had a lot of cleaning up to do. We worked very closely on a lot of matters. There were a lot of things that were uncovered that required legal analysis and consultation. I can tell you that Al and I have had, or Mr. Childers, I'm sorry, but the manager and I have had, I think, a good working relationship. He consults me when need be, involves me in matters. Much more proactive than the previous manager with regards to looking for problems before they come. But that comes with an extended amount of billable hours in performing those services. So essentially what has happened, we've billed, I think, if I remember correctly, it was 914.68 billable hours over that 10-month period we were just talking about. As I said, it equates to $93.04. That's just well below standards. We tried to do some comparables as best we could. The city of Medley is paying their legal counsel $25,000 a month, which equates to which I thought was high, and I had to double check it, $300,000 a year. On the low end, El Portal is at $95,000 for an in-house counsel, which I just learned that this evening. Virginia Gardens is paying $3,000 a month, which equates to $36,000 a year. West Miami is a little bit of an outlier in the sense that they have an in-house counsel, so they have somebody that's actually an employee of their jurisdiction. That individual is making a salary of $140,000 plus whatever they're getting paid for benefits, which equates to about $11,700 a month for the salary alone. And North Bay Village, which is, they employ another firm, Weiss Serota, which I know you're all familiar with. They're essentially paying $18,500 a month for their services, and their contract has a 2.5% annual increase already factored into their agreement, which presently comes out to $220,000 a year. As I said, the rate right now is well below the rate that we charge other municipal clients. Even those clients that we do some bulk work, like where a lot of hours where we discount their rate, is still over double what we're billing right now for the village. So what we're proposing is a rate increase which will come out to $14,583.33 a month. That's a total of $175,000 a year is what it would equate to. Just calculating over those same 10 months, it comes out to an hourly rate of $162.83, which is still below what the firm charges our municipal clients. And I can tell you, our lowest bulk rate that we charge, and when I say a bulk rate, there are certain clients we have, like for instance, I have a client that I do all their labor and labor arbitrations. The hours that I can bill them it's probably triple what we bill here for billable hours. And so we've given them a discounted rate at $200 an hour, which is the lowest rate that we give to our municipal clients. Our general rate is somewhere between $250 and $350 an hour for our municipal clients. So that's essentially what we're proposing, is an increase at $175,000. There's other factors that also come into this. It's the hourly rate. It's been the increases we've discussed, and there's ancillary matters that we're not even billing for. So when you talk about the ethics complaints, while we build village and ask the village to compensate us for what we pay to outside counsel, we didn't bill the village and didn't even account in the billings the time that I had to spend to compile information and put together stuff for the outside counsel so that they could respond on my behalf. As we're sitting here today, I still have at least one administrative complaint that's out there that I have counsel that is responding for me. I'm under threat almost daily from bar complaints being filed against me, additional ethics complaints being filed against me, and also allegations that I have criminal charges or investigations pending against me, which again, all factor into time that has to be spent by the firm to deal with those issues as they arise. So with that being said, that's our ask at this point.
Okay, thanks, Brad. Sorry, excuse me. So Paul, sorry, you're right. You just did the same thing I did. Can you talk to us a little bit about, because this is obviously the rate increase that we're looking at is not within the administrative budget that's being proposed to us, correct? So can you talk to us a little bit about affordability? Does it fit in the budget? Just can you give us your understanding from the finance?
Yes, the
perspective?
way the manager has presented the budget and allocated the proposed budget to this at this point at a 9.4 millage rate, you're going to have over $450,000 of discretionary decision making upon adoption to determine remember the buckets, the reserves, emergency funds, or CIP. Those are the three variables that you choose at the end of the budget, and that absorbs or is created by what you choose to adopt in the operating lines. So if you added $75,000 to the admin budget, you would reduce that 450 by $75,000. There's a fourth piece of revenue that we won't be able to show you and discuss until the second reading probably. We'll try for the first reading, but it has to do with the financials, which is surpluses from the existing year. So and that'll be projected pretty close to real, but usually we give you a percentage. So that's probably an additional $200,000 to $300,000. So in essence, your operations are much less expensive than you budget for. That's intentional, and you could absorb this.
Okay, Paul, thank you.
Question?
I was just gonna say discussion.
Oh, just a really quick, Brad, you mentioned a lot, billable hours, and if I'm not mistaken, our current agreement, it has nothing to do with hours. It's just a flat rate, right?
It is a flat rate.
Right. It's
So
a flat rate agreement. That doesn't matter. The hours is irrelevant in this, as far as the current agreement is concerned, right?
even if
Whether you spend 1,000 hours or 50 hours, you're going to get paid what you get paid.
and to your
Right.
point, if we're not asking for an hourly, we bill you, we provide you every month. I know you've seen them.
Yes. Yes.
We document our hours, how much
Yep.
time we spent, so that you know that we're working and what we're doing and that
Right.
what you know what you're paying for.
Right.
The increase would still be the same way.
Okay.
It's just we're looking at it from a business perspective. I mean, obviously the firm's
I
got to make
understand.
money, and
Brad, trust me.
no, I understand. I'm
I get it.
just trying to answer your
I
question.
get it. So Paul, historically, we've given our current law firm an increase per year, have we not?
It's mixed. You had different kinds of contracts. The
With
attorneys.
the current, I mean, we've had them, what now, 4, 5, 6 years?
Yeah,
now?
you had, if you recall, if I may,
Yeah, yeah,
um,
please.
I think we started off, and I can't remember years, so don't ask me to quote the year, but I think we started off around 78,000 was our initial contract. I think in 2021, maybe it
Mhm.
was. There was an increase to around 82,000 or 83,000 at one point, and then there were no increases for a couple of years.
Mhm.
And then last year, we had asked for that increase, we asked for an increase to the 99,996, whatever it is.
Is there a reason why you guys didn't ask for an increase? Was it because we signed, I don't know, because I haven't seen the agreement, but is it because we signed a longer term agreement, or was it
The agreement
just because you didn't want to?
agreement actually is just it has no term.
Okay,
We serve we serve at the pleasure of the commission.
got it.
And we have a provision in there that if the firm were to choose to terminate the agreement, we would put you on notice that we were terminating, and we had to give you 60 days time
it.
to find another counsel. So essentially, I can't really address why. I think, the firm, I think, I can't really speak for the firm because I wasn't here.
Yeah.
I know the firm wants to keep you all as a client, wanted you all as a client,
Okay,
made the offer that they did initially. The work, I think, remained kind of steady for a period of time.
Mhm.
And so they just, I'm guessing that they didn't ask for any increases.
Mhm.
And then it kind of just really quickly went up, the amount of time that we were spending for various different reasons.
Yeah.
Some that I've explained, and
yeah, I
and
get it.
that's why we're here.
Understood. Okay, so this obviously this is a huge difference between what we're currently paying to what you're asking for. This is my last question. Is there any room to negotiate this, or is this like Al's deal?
Well, and quite frankly, and I think I said this in the email.
Yeah,
Not so much Al's deal is the deciding factor,
yeah,
but you have two charter officers. One is your village attorney, and one is your
Yeah.
manager. And I think there may have been, just to go back to what you were asking, and then I'll answer your question. There may have been some part of the firm's decision not to go well above the 100,000 because you weren't paying your manager much more than that. And
so
so
it's Al's fault, is what you're saying?
yeah, I'm gonna blame Al. It's
Walked out.
but no, Al and I've had this conversation though, and I know I've had it with some of the members of the commission privately. But essentially, yes. So to some extent, that's kind of where we came up with the number. We knew you had budgeted previously 175,000 for the manager's position, which was a total package. Obviously, we don't get any benefits. We're an outside contractor, so that's kind of that's where our number came from. I mean, we didn't just pull it out of the air.
So you didn't ask my
I was going to. I can't. So I can't say. Look, anything that you offer, I will go back and speak with the firm and relay that, and we can certainly discuss during the first budget. I can discuss with each of you privately what the firm's response is, and certainly at the first budget, when you're approving the budget, we can discuss this further. And I understand that this is kind of just being dropped on you in the last couple of days.
Any other questions for the attorney before we're discussing.
I have one.
No.
I have a
No need.
question.
Go ahead.
Okay. So thank you, Brad. I understand everything you answer. I sort of had a question myself as well. So the next step would be for you to go back, if so we want, in order for you to find out if there is an opportunity to get a better price for the village. And then you come back to that to include it on the next workshop, if so.
First
I
reading.
would suggest, and what I would ask, I mean, that's our ask.
Yeah.
We think it's fair. I mean, I understand Commissioner Gonzalez's point. It's a significant increase.
Yeah.
I understand that. So what I would ask is if the commission collectively has an amount in mind,
Mhm.
just let me know what that is, and then I'll go back to the firm. And, because I don't make that decision. I'm not one of the managing partners.
And so
And
that,
I can
yeah, and that was
lay it,
gonna
we can
be-
have a discussion, and I can get back to you all individually and give you an idea of where I'm at.
Yeah.
Or where the firm's at, I should say. And if there's further discussion to be needed, it can be done at the first
at
budget.
the first budget. So that was my first, and the second was going to be about what is a standard pricing, right? And so how does it usually, because you're a charter officer, we normally would go through a bidding process with contractors and sort of
You don't have to
select.
go, it's a
How does it
professional,
work?
it's a professional service agreement.
Okay,
So under your code, you do not have to go out for formal bids.
okay,
So I mean, you could direct your manager to go out to other firms and
yeah.
shop it around if
Yeah.
that's what you wanted to do.
And I think it's not sort of what I want to do. It's not I have a position whether
Don't
just
take it personally. I mean, I
okay.
understand this is a business decision.
Of course, and,
Both.
and on that sense, because it is a decision on, budget and decision at the end as well, is I would just want to have an idea of reference of what that hourly rate would be looking like if we were out to shop. You mentioned some of the costs that the firm itself is charging other clients, and I think that's a good reference, but that comes only from one place. I think what I would want to know is if we have a couple of examples so that we can gauge where we are, so that we are fair when we have a point of negotiation. Otherwise, I don't know how you negotiate this in any way.
Yeah, so like Medley, for instance, I don't know whether they have an in-house counsel or they have a firm.
Yeah.
Trying to kind of put these numbers together as quickly as I could. Like I said, North Bay Village, I know that's a firm.
Yeah.
Weiss Serota. West Miami is an in-house attorney, and I don't know. I can't, Virginia Gardens, if they have a firm, I'd be shocked if they have a firm at $3,000.
Yeah.
I would think that's probably an individual lawyer.
Yeah.
Who has his own firm and is doing work for them on the side. And I think El Portel, though, which is what I found today, the message I got from them,
Is that Joe?
it's in, it is Joe. I think it is Joe Geller.
It was Joe. I don't know. If it's
And
still-
so Joe is with a firm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I thought I heard something saying they were replacing him, but I'm not 100% sure. So I probably shouldn't be saying that on the record, but
It's a workshop. It's a
according
workshop.
to them, the way they put it, they said in-house was 96,000. So they may be using in-house in a different way than I use in-house. Because
Yep.
to me, in-house is somebody that's hired by the village
Mhm.
and that's all they're doing. They're basically your employee. It would be as if you have a village manager. If you were to go hire a lawyer to come here as your village attorney, where that's all they're doing, either they work here or in their own office somewhere, but that's it. That's what they do. So Mr. Geller obviously has various clients. Holds various positions and
If it's still him,
Yeah.
it was him at one point.
it was.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad idea to get a bit an understanding of where the market sits for someone like this. Look, Brad,
Yeah.
I've been very clear with you that I have no issue with a raise in the rate because I can tell you as I think the only other attorney in the room, 93 and even 106 is like criminally low.
Yeah.
Yes, yep. I get it. No, I get it. I agree completely. Yeah, yeah.
It could be a lot less.
I hear you. I completely hear you, Art. I don't disagree at all. I hear both sides of it and can understand both.
Take no offense to you guys doing that.
Okay.
It's like I said, this is a business decision for you as well as for the firm.
So
So
for clarity,
Yep.
I mean, Brad's asking for either to accept or a counter offer. Right that now we're not giving a counter offer. We're asking the manager to go out and shop this around or just to give us more context on what other people are paying.
well, I think the idea is to get a survey of sorts to find out where this request sits in the market of attorneys with this type of lift, with this type of municipality, so we can provide some context. What Brad, what you provided is of course helpful for point of reference. But it might be helpful for us to understand, is this overpaying for somebody like this for us? Are we still getting a great deal? I wouldn't hurt to know, I think.
Yeah.
So
It just educate us better on the decision that we might have to make on that first reading.
Certainly.
So that we can say, this is perfectly in balance with what other municipalities are paying or not. And I think that or not will give us the idea of a counter to consider at that time, if so, again, I want to say I'm super happy. I'll put this on the record with your support as always. And the firm has been with the village for many years and you have history. I just think it's something we need to do due diligence.
yeah, certainly I agree with that sentiment too. Brad, I've been very happy with your work and with the firm's work too. So I'd love to see it to continue, but the context would certainly be helpful.
Yeah, I'd agree. Not to contradict Paul, but I agree. We have 415 surplus as we stand right now. But remember, or 450, excuse me. But remember, 415 of that is allocated to the state for matching funds for our stormwater appropriations. So that
point.
415 gets eaten up very quickly. So it just, just context.
Okay, so, Mr. Manager, would you be able to do that for us so we have some context going into the next meeting for the budget? Okay, great. Are there any other questions for Brad before we move on? Hearing none. Brad, thanks very much. Be patient with us, please.
Yeah, no problem.
You
Okay.
have,
Problem.
Okay,
thank you.
Brad, thanks very much. So our next presentation is administration, and we have our packets going out.
Yeah.
What? Thank you. Hey, there's coffee. Brad, we have you to thank for that one too.
No, thank you.
You're not me, are you?
No. So, good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the Village Commission. So the administration's proposed budget for 25-26 for the administration. As you know, under the charter of the Village of Biscayne Park, the village manager is the chief administrative officer of the village. The manager shall be responsible to the mayor and commission for the administration of having all village affairs and carrying out the policies of the commission. Some of the activities that we've been working on in the past year, we've hired a professional qualified police chief, which is completed. We're reviewing policies and procedures, each department. That's ongoing. Reviewing labor agreements, ongoing. Establishing procurement policies to obtain the most qualified vendor. That's ongoing. Establishing weekly meetings with department directors, ongoing. Review department SOPs and updating them when appropriate, ongoing. Update the Village of Biscayne Park's employee policy procedure manual, it's ongoing. Improve the response for hurricane preparedness and emergency management, ongoing. Bringing the Village Commission minutes up to date and place on the website, that's been completed. We've established a policy, off-duty policy for the police department to conform with best practices, and that's been completed. So the personnel changes for 24-25, for the upcoming fiscal year as opposed to 2025. The only thing that you'll see in the organizational chart is that we're proposing a assistant to the village clerk to assist her with her daily functions. The difference in the budget, if you look down, you'll see the different variances in each of the different line items. As you know, there's a increase in the manager's salary. That was an 80% difference overall. We had retirement contributions actually went down 43% from the last fiscal year. Health insurance went up. Travel and per diem, we eliminated that this year. We're not going to budget anything for travel and per diem. Also municipal elections, we're not budgeting anything for municipal elections. If you look at the overall expenses, administrative expenses is for the proposed budget represents just a 16% increase from last year. The administrative highlights, the projected final expenditure, we estimate that there may be a surplus of $85,000 from the proposed budget that was adopted of $204,000. The difference in this upcoming year for fiscal year 2025 that was adopted $1,257,966 is projected at $1,772,397, and the proposed for fiscal year 2026 is $1,462,267. Some of the accomplishments for the main accomplishments during 2024, 25. We updated the website, the backlog of the minutes. We're working on updating the resolutions. We're currently working on that. We're correcting information. We're still using Maria Camaro, correct information on the website to accurately reflect the current status. The village phones, we were successful to update the phone system by changing vendors that had full control of phones, and we were constantly going down. That problem has been fixed. It's not occurring anymore. They don't have control over it like we had, and the village attorney could tell you that was a horrible vendor that we had, and we were able to get rid of them by working with the village attorney on those issues. The log cabin, we're updating the Wi-Fi capability through Comcast. We're doing assessment of the audio visual equipment and seeking quotes to update equipment. We treated this building for the termite infestation. Customer service, we're improving customer service in each department, ensuring the phone calls, emails are being answered, reducing complaints from residents and building contractors about our building process. The Australian pines, you all know what we successfully removed 30 Australian pines in the median. The police department, we established an off-duty program to capture the hourly rate back payment to the village park. That wasn't being done before. We're assuring that the take-home policy is being followed in accordance with the PBA contract, and we auction off cars in the fleet that were undrivable and result in the savings of repairs and insurance. The budget, we eroded the backlog of unpaid invoices that were some of the 3 to 6 months behind. We streamlined and organized the budget process to improve efficiency. We identified cost savings in budget process and reduced millage rates and resulting in a tax. And the goals and objectives for 25-26. Log cabin, this is all budget related to improve the road around the log cabin. We spoke about that at strategic planning. We've getting quotes on it, and we're looking to go out for a bid. Complete ADA re-roof and lighting project around the log cabin. Update the Wi-Fi, cable optics, audio visual equipment. The village website will update and improve village website and design so it's more user-friendly and contains all vital information. The public works garage, we've talked about that. Replace the roof or demolish the structure, whatever is determined to be the most cost efficient, effective. Miami Country Day School, we're negotiating an agreement with Miami Country Day School for the use of the field under a private-public partnership. State appropriations, we have $415,000 state appropriations and matching general fund money. The ARPA funds, we're going to be using $1 million of the ARPA funds for state water, stormwater project. We'll be using ARPA funds to purchase 2 police cars and 2 code compliance cars. We'll be issuing a $1,000 bonus to each police officers using ARPA funds. And then we'll complete the independent audit and issue a final report for our ARPA funds once all those funds are or expended. We'll do a complete independent audit of that whole project. The Safer Streets project, complete Safer Streets grant application process and implement the study for a matching grant of $100,000. Ed Burke parking plan, we complete phase 1 of the parking plan on the west side of the open field. And those are just some of the goals and objectives of the upcoming fiscal year.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. If anybody has any questions for Al on the presentation before we move into the line items, that would be the time.
Thank you, Al, for your presentation. My only question is, retirement contributions. Have we got confirmation from FRS? That
No,
you're-
I just signed the agreement, so I just had a conversation with Paul. So we're gonna call them, hopefully before the end of the week, and I hope they don't charge us for, but I had my conversations with them. They said they're gonna charge us for the position. So, you're charged for the position, but I'm not taking any retirement
We've heard
contribution at all.
You've heard different.
Yeah.
So it's still pending. Okay.
Right. But they say you have a village manager position. You're funded for a village manager position. So they're telling me that you have to pay for that, whether I'm taking contributions or not. So but I'll have that conversation with the finance director. So he's on the phone with me so we can do that.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I think I have several questions, but I think when it comes to, and we'll go into line by line to understand the impact of each one of the positions you're asking, specifically to the clerk and the increase on the budget. But I would have to say that both accomplishments and goals and objectives for me is a TBD. Nothing has been agreed as a commission for you to write this down. We were supposed to meet to define goals and objectives. That hasn't happened. I have questions like Miami Country Day School, like where's this coming from? And I think my main concern is that we all might have different opinions on what that looks like. And the whole purpose of defining those goals as what we want you to see achieve has to come as a commission, as in unity. Accomplishment, I think it comes from a performance evaluation, but I'll leave those to the side. I think that's TBD again. I'm not comfortable defining now in writing that that's how we're going to move forward. But I understand this is how you built your proposed budget, right?
Well, the accomplishments, Commissioner, are budget related.
Yeah.
And also the goals are budget related.
Yeah, that's what I'm
So-
saying. So you tie them in
Yeah, so
naturally with what I
I
expect.
think you're set to fund some of those
Yeah.
projects. So the goal is to complete those projects.
Got it. And then tell us more about, so you're asking for a position. Should we go line by line and get to staffing? I think it's the first line.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
regular salaries, so.
Yeah, okay.
fine.
So Mayor,
Yeah.
if I could, I'll sit over here
Yeah, that's
as
fine.
we go line.
So the first one is clear because that's only your salary. And then, so TBD on the FSR, right?
Correct.
So Commissioner, the first one you were talking about addressing then was that the full-time assistant?
Yeah, can you walk us through why you need an assistant for the clerk?
Yes, Commissioner, as you saw, we've had a backlog of the minutes. We have a backlog of resolutions. We have a backlog of, there's other issues that are going on. And I think the village clerk right now wears many different hats. And I think to get us, to move us forward, to get us where we want to be, that at this time she needs some assistance.
Brad, sorry, Commissioner, I just had a quick question because
Yeah.
you've been telling us for a while that HR functions should be a separate role. does this role kind of adopt or work within handling kind of some of those HR issues? Is that one of the desired tasks?
Yeah, I totally agree with the village attorney that that should be a different function.
I didn't mean to
And-
put words in your mouth, sorry, but that's what my recollection.
I've had that conversation
Yeah.
before, so.
Right, so that was, putting those two ideas together, that's what I assumed when I saw this position, that this was at least going to handle that role. Because
Yes,
it's supposed to be a
yes.
different, so that was my only real question about the role, so, sorry, Commissioner, I didn't mean to hijack your line of questioning by any means, but
No,
my understanding of at least one of the roles, so please
Yes.
continue.
because it says full-time clerk assistant, so it's assistant to the clerk, and right now the clerk has the HR responsibilities, is that right?
That's correct. Yeah,
Okay.
she's doing a lot of HR stuff.
Okay. Yeah, so for me, I don't know, I have for me, it's, you don't have performance evaluations yet to understand where are those delays falling. I mean, delays have been across the board when it comes to the clerk's office. So for me, to state that that is the reason why we need a position is not enough. Because the commitment is long-term. Once the person is here, salary, benefits, and all goes in. I can understand maybe support in an office perspective, in terms of, assistance as overall as an office. But when it comes to the clerk specific, I don't see that. And again, there is no role per se or job description that identifies whether this person is going to be doing more administrative work or is it going to be clerk specific. And because there isn't that performance yet, it's very hard to tell. So this is, I think it's a no for me when I saw it, just because I don't have the elements to understand why we need it. And it could be very clearly seen that we're falling behind on everything, but that doesn't necessarily mean we need a new person. Maybe there's processes in place. We got technology in place. I mean, you name it. I think we got to go back to your proposal, which was back to basics. And to me, this is going a step beyond that.
So, Mr. Mayor, can I address that?
Yeah, of course.
So, Commissioner, once any position is approved in the budget, at the first meeting in October, we would come to you with a job description. We would come to you with the salary range, and that would be approved at that first meeting in October with those. And sometimes it's more than just one proposed. I think this year we're only looking at one new position. And so we would bring that to you in October to be authorized at the October meeting.
Brad, can I ask you, could you refresh my recollection? Because I remember we had this discussion last year around this time about the separation roles, because that's what I keyed on when I saw this role, to understand what the position should be, why there should be a separation, how you see that working out from a legal kind of risk perspective. I don't remember what we talked about. I just remember vaguely that you had reminded us that there
Yeah,
should be a
I
separation.
think there's several different reasons for the separation.
Okay.
To some extent, the HR person will deal with personnel issues that arise within the village. They're the first step to evaluate those and make sure they're dealt with. They're the individuals that are going to manage and be the keeper of the personnel files, the information in the files, whether that relates to all aspects of of employment. And I mean, it's just it should be separate. I mean, generally, your clerk has a certain defined role with regards to a municipality and what their job function is. And this is, quite frankly, this is the first where I've seen that the municipal clerk is also doing your HR work.
Can I ask a separate question? How do you unrelated to the question that I just asked, unfairly so, how, and this is probably a question for you as well, Mr. Manager, how do we foresee this position assisting with, was that a sneeze? Oh, I was going to say, bless you. Do you foresee this position assisting with public records requests?
Yeah, so understand what's going on. As we saw with Parks and Recreation, you have a director that has no backup. So really, the village clerk is working without any backup. So when she's out sick or she's on vacation, there's nobody doing her job at that point. And it's sitting there for her to do when she gets back. And so that's why there's sometimes a backlog. So and this position would assist that, and to learn her role, that when she is out, somebody could just step in. And same with these meetings, where if the village clerk is out sick this evening, I would be at a loss. I think, I don't know if we would be able to have a meeting, because I would be told I couldn't sit in that position and take over. And I don't know if there is anybody that's capable at City Hall to do that right now. So that's mainly why I'm proposing this position, is to have.
Didn't we have somebody in this position before? We had an assistant clerk. Didn't we had, and she left to Miami Shores, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know. I don't know the history.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Pamela.
We did,
Yeah.
but let me,
You said we didn't, or we did?
we did. We promoted somebody.
Right, exactly.
But it's not a matter of just promoting somebody.
Mhm.
We promoted somebody who had no idea.
Mhm.
Well, an idea, but no training. This position is very skill specific. And laws, rules, etc. And like the manager said, when I'm out, everything that the clerk does sits on my desk until I get back. And sometimes we may miss a deadline, or, or whatever, because I'm not there.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, just
Yeah,
to
please.
expound on something, you were talking about liability, and this is not at all a knock on Pamela in any way.
Right.
But we're talking about public records earlier.
Well, I was going to get there.
And the thing about public records, under public records law, the fact that your public records custodian is out sick or on vacation, that's
Doesn't
not
matter.
an excuse for not replying. And for somebody to reply to a public records request, they have to have a working knowledge of Chapter 119 Florida statutes, which deals with public records, what the exemptions are, how to respond to the requests, document the requests, and things of that nature. So you're either you're gonna put somebody in there that has no idea and try to train them, or you're gonna have somebody that can fill that. And also, not only when the Madam Clerk's not there, but when she's doing other things, she's preparing an agenda, you get a request that comes in, or whatever it might be, those public record requests can't just be put on the back burner, because they will end up in litigation.
So can I ask a follow-up to that question? So it seems to me, Pamela, what you're describing is a very skilled, specific position. So are you telling me you're going to be able to find somebody for $55,000 to fill that role? I find that hard to believe, frankly.
Difficult, but you can.
Right. So the Village of Miami Shores right now is
Right.
advertising for an assistant. I've asked them, once they close that, if they can give me copies of all the resumes.
What are they offering? How much are they offering?
The person that left here left for 50.
As an assistant clerk over there?
Yes, but again, that person had no training.
Right, I get it.
So
What the current position, you said there's one open currently, right?
At Miami Shores.
And
Yeah,
you know
they're
what-
advertising. I'm not sure.
it
For sure.
starts at like 51, 50, 51, somewhere in there.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
I think the
Follow to-
only question, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Questions
try
I
to
have
answer.
is, all cities have assistant clerks, right? I mean, say majority of them have it, because like you said, in case you happen to be out, or you're gonna be going on vacations, I hope, right? Or you're gonna be sick, hopefully not, but we need to have it. I just think if other cities have this,
There's cities
I
that
think
do, there's cities that do, and there's cities that don't. It depends on the structure of the office and the city. But there is a person in most cities who backs up the clerk, who, like the
Definitely.
manager says, who could come and step in to do a meeting or, I'm working on 3 agendas right now at the same time. You know, I don't have anybody to come in and take care of those other little things that are maybe falling through the crack because I'm working on 3 agendas.
And I think with the city manager bringing up, if he happens to be out, we have nobody to run a meeting. And the freedom information request, because I know we've been having people do freedom information requests, that I think, but in this position, I would want somebody that's really qualified. I don't want us to have like we had the last one, because we did have, I think I was on the commission when we had an assistant and really didn't know what they were doing. So, I want to have where you be able to do your work, but at the you know, I don't want to hear any excuses that you can't do your work because you have so much stuff to do. And if you have an assistant, I think that can cut it out.
Commissioner Enzo, you want to?
Yeah, I was wondering about contracting services. Could you have Maria Camacho? That's her name, right? Camara, I'm sorry. Ms. Camara?
Yes.
Yeah, helping out. And she's provided help whenever we need it, and we've been backlog. So I'm trying to understand the balance between contracting the service versus having one in-house. I understand the gaps,
Right.
you know, for sick days you can prevent, but maybe having a schedule, I don't know. Go ahead.
So she's remotely. So if the village clerk was out, it's not, she's not available for me to pick up the phone and say, hey, can you come over here tonight and handle the meeting? She lives in Tallahassee. So that's the thing. She's able to do other things and assist in other ways, but
Yeah.
that's the challenge we have right now.
And do you have to have the meetings led by the clerk? Is that the clerk responsibility, or can you train someone else that can do this?
It's the clerk's responsibility, yes.
To open the meeting and to host it, so
Right.
it has to be the clerk. It
Right,
can't be anybody
and
else.
you have to have somebody that is knowledgeable in that field, Commissioner, that knows the in and outs and knows exactly, you know, is trained and has a background in that. And I think that's what we're looking for.
I'm talking
know.
about like the meetings, like hosting a Zoom. Like, does it have to be the clerk that hosts a Zoom, or?
I know, I'm not following you.
So you said, say for example, the next budget meeting,
Right, so
Pamela
if
is
it's
out.
out,
Yeah.
whether, I don't think I could do it,
Okay.
you know,
I'm
so
I'm saying it can
yeah,
someone else do it, or does it fall in the
it
responsibility?
falls under the responsibility of the village clerk. It has certain skills
Ah.
that I don't think we have those certain skills
Yeah.
in Village Hall right now.
Got it. Okay.
So I've definitely heard enough to fully support this position. I mean, just from the aspect of, you know, if Pamela, you know, heaven forbid, has an event where she has to be out of work for an extended period of time, public records requests will still come in, and not having that backup, having a department of one with something that is vital that has to continue by law, it's to me, it's very clear that we need to have this backup. We need to have this second line for her.
Especially with the HR, as the attorney explained, I think that's very important that we have. So
Let's say you, Art.
the only, like I said, the only thing I would not agree, I want somebody that's qualified. Definitely that we get somebody that's qualified.
See Art nodding his head. Yeah, there were a couple items that I wanted to just highlight on it because I saw some potential risk. You know, that's kind of where my mind goes, is potential risk and how we can mitigate that risk. And if that mitigates that risk, then that's important to me. So I think it's important.
With our city manager, we won't approve this until what? So October, you'll be.
So we'll leave it in the budget. We'll have first reading. And then you'll have a second reading, and then in October, we'll come back with the job description and the salary range.
And is it possible that you can find out if it goes to find out with the person that you were talking about in the Miami Shores that might be available?
Well, they had opened up the position, Vice Mayor, so they were advertising. Yeah, and so hopefully by around October, they may have closed it, and I could get that stack of resumes that who they didn't hire, and go through those resumes. Yes.
Gonna give Esmond the shakedown. Okay, so, Commissioner Answer, is there anything else, on this line item?
Oh, I'm good.
Okay. All right, so let's move on to our next item, 21. FICA Medicare, not much we can do about this item. 22.1 retirement contributions. Obviously, we've already heard from the manager and from Paul on the next steps for contacting FRS. But outside of that, I don't believe that changes. Yes?
The only question I have that, because I'm still confused on it and I'm learning this stuff. This part that you're talking about, that we don't have to pay the 60, might have to pay the 60,000 from when you were interim manager or not? Or is that we're still looking into that? That's the only part I'm confused about.
They have not invoiced us for that, and we've had the position on our payroll.
Right.
The individual is where the next step is, does the individual have the right to opt out and then the village not be charged? If he wants to opt out, we still may be charged. We don't know that yet.
So we might not have a choice about that.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. So our next line item, 23, health insurance, life insurance. Obviously, we know those are set. Workers' comp has not changed. Professional services is 31. Are there any questions about professional services? I see a couple of deltas on this one.
I have some.
Okay.
All right, so, Muni code, codification, all of that stays the same. The IT support, you're increasing it for next year?
Yes, so
And- yeah.
Commissioner, we had, as you recall, we had brought in IT support for this meeting,
Mhm.
for these meetings. And also we had, I think that is that wrapped in with our phone service because they're also handling off our phone service now.
So it's to support during every meeting? So you're accounting with someone that,
Yeah, he, as he saw, he was sitting here during the regular commission meetings. So we had brought him in to assist with that. And I think their fees are also going up, so.
okay, so, and you're hiring him by the hour, or do we have a contract with this vendor?
No, they're charging us additional for that monthly service that we bring him in. There's a set fee that they're charging us.
What's the name of the vendor?
Next level? Next level, yes.
And then, lobbies never changes, that stays the same. We're thankful for David. And then legal counsel is to TBD, now that that's the pending. The screenings go up to 2,000. Are you estimated, we've only used 760. Is this for the 2 potential new employees you're accounting?
It's for any changes that we may have throughout the year.
The HR support, so if, are we thinking of that's something that we're gonna use? Why is it increasing to 5?
Yeah, so we're also looking at to rewrite our policy and procedure manual. And we would have to bring some outside consultant to do that.
And is that for all departments or which department?
That's the entire policy and procedure manual
Okay, so SOPs, 5,000 for a vendor to help us out.
with the policy and procedure manual.
Is it difference in the standard operating procedures?
Yes. it's
Okay.
The entire village manual for all employees.
Got it. So the
Yeah.
main employee procedures.
Right.
Got
There's
it.
some things.
So it's not,
I've identified, the village attorney is identified in there
yeah.
that need to be changed, and we just want, it's kind of outdated. We want to bring it up to date.
So it's not for SOPs. This is just for the
policy.
employee manual.
Yeah.
Okay.
Policy procedure manual.
Then you have the.
So it's like our
Yeah.
code book,
Yeah.
our playbook.
Then you have the grant writer, same amount of money. Public communications going down. Why is that?
Is that being reallocated to 41? Actually, no, that would be far less. Or would be? No.
Yeah, I don't think we used any of that $15,000. That's why we had zeroed it out, but,
That was originally part of the updates for the website. So that's why I'm asking if nothing was used. There's 4,530 here. Do you know what that was for? What are we, that's got to be the app, I'm guessing.
yeah, it has peak agenda management.
That's what was charged there, $4,530.
What's the agenda management system? That's different than Granicus?
Granicus
Okay.
is a separate line item.
Yeah, it's the bottom line. It has 0. Granicus has 0, but public communications has 4530. Maybe it was wrongly coded?
Yeah, it was coded. It's, the subcodes there can be combined or separated. So there's a general code that hits all of them. And
So,
then there's a separate one for each line item. So it's easily just adjusted.
so the 4530 and, well, never mind. We don't have anything. We show 0 for Granicus this year, but
Right.
budgeted
So I can
3779.
move it there if that's.
That's what it's for. Makes sense.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering why we don't, do we allocate the money to your updates on the website?
I don't do anything. I don't have anything to do with your website, so I don't know exactly how you do it, but how it's done. Who does? Dallas.
This was an ongoing discussion, the website for either a change within the contract for the current vendor or moving to a new vendor to build a new.
Yeah, so
website.
what I would like to do, Mayor, is probably have a workshop on the website and bring in the top 3 website designers, Catalyst, who we have now, Granicus, some of the other ones that I'm used to, have them make a presentation to the mayor and council and commissioners, and then just or go out to bid, ask for qualifications, and then allow them to make the presentation to the commission, and then for the commission to choose which direction they want to go. You can buy a Cadillac for $50,000, or we can get a Volkswagen for $10,000. It's just it's your what direction you want to go in. And I think for years we've been buying the Volkswagen, and we have the very minimum, and that's what you're seeing now. So I think it's time to upgrade. Maybe not a Cadillac, but maybe to a Ford or a Chevy, but something a little better than what we have now.
So I agree with that. So for me, the website needs to be a priority because it's our hosting site for everything. Even the app feeds from it. So if the website is not good, the app's not going to be good, and so on. Originally for 2024, we had $35,000, and very little of that was used. I think that's the first time we brought GoGov. And now it's 15, but then you have budgeted 0. So you don't have money allocated to the spend on that.
I don't think that was for the website, Commissioner. I think it just says.
Are you talking about the public communications
Public
line item or the?
communications.
Yeah,
I may, because I was just looking real quick.
Yeah.
The Catalyst agreement is, you all approved a resolution last year,
mhm.
renew it, and it was for an amount of $15,789 per year, which I don't know if that's what that public communications 15,000 is.
It's not here as a spend. Maybe just contracted, to your point.
Yeah, I don't know if it was billed yet.
Haven't seen it.
I don't know when the billing takes place, but I was just looking. And that would-
When's the date of that catalyst?
It looks like it was I only have a draft of the reso, but it looks like May of I'm sorry?
You guys didn't go forth with the reso. Remember the conversation about sending the letter to the vendor because something had already renewed?
Because there was something, it was our understanding there was something in the contract that allowed us to get updates that we had already
Right,
paid for.
that you had already paid for.
Yeah,
And the previous manager was supposed to send some kind of letter to the vendor,
yeah.
and you didn't, you decided to back off from a resolution because you didn't need the reso, you just needed the letter to go forth to the vendor.
Assignment 2 of the contract or something like that.
Yeah, because the
They changed.
the contract stated that if no party, either party, ended the contract, it automatically.
It automatically.
It
we took
automatically
the
renewed.
position that we already were renewed
And
and under the old terms.
yes, and also the company had changed
They had
names.
changed.
They had bought out,
Yes.
I think GoGov had bought out Catalyst or vice versa. I can't remember. So they wanted us to enter into a new contract because the company had gotten bought out, and we told them, no, you assume the contract that the previous company that you consumed, you're responsible for it. And unless we object to the assignment, which we weren't. So that was what it was. You're correct. Pamela, you're right. So that was what the agreement was, though. So that might have been, I mean, I'm thinking that 15,000 might be for that line item.
Yeah,
Like
Mr.
Paul?
I'm not sure I understood. So so we have a contract with someone. The point is we haven't spent it, right? We have 15,000 allocated for 2025 and 4 on the spend side, right?
It's not being billed under Catalyst. So
Okay.
the question is, who's it being billed under? And GoGov has a number of expenses that may not have been identified correctly. You know, we've done a lot of things with them, so, and they all look like website services. So it's almost impossible, you know, from today's position, I have to pull all the invoices and see which one's which. But I'd like an answer, you know, find an answer.
So then let's assume for a second, for sake of conversation, the 15 was the renewal that they charged us. Are they billing that monthly within an invoice? So it would be difficult for us to parse that out?
Yeah, I got to look to see because there's a few places where GoGov hits and,
Yeah.
you know, the bills are close to the budget, so they don't draw attention, but I can double check it.
But it
I'll
has-
pull the vendor invoices, which I have sorted that way also, and I'll go through them and see if I can identify it.
Is the vendor have they been operating, making updates to the website? Oh, no.
Commissioner, every time I call them and ask them to, we want to do some upgrades, they ask me to sign a new contract.
So we
So-
because of that.
I think we gotta have another conversation. I think we have
Okay.
to have another conversation with them. It looks like GoGov, I'm sorry, Gov Office. That's what it is. I'm confusing GoGov with Gov Office. Gov Office was rebranded as Catalyst Public Works and Citizen Engagement. So Paul, I don't know if it's under GoGov or it's under Catalyst because it's not. No, I'm talking about from the budget perspective. Oh,
Gov office.
so that's what happened. And
Got it. All right, so my point on this was that we have 0 allocated for next year. And I think for what you said, that the website does need an overhaul, you know, so where would that money come from?
I think that money would come from professional services. That's what I was thinking, where that money would come from.
Okay, so I would just look for the next meeting that we have, that you have that identify how much that's going to be. I think as an estimate originally was 35, you know, went down to 15, and then sort of nothing happened. And Granicus, we did talk.
So, and I guess there's consensus from the commission that we don't want a Volkswagen.
We want to, I'm sorry?
We don't want a Volkswagen.
I mean, it's what you can afford, you know, like the website is there. I don't think it's a brand new website, but you need an overhaul in terms of content and someone to go through that's going to be not cheap.
No, it's not going to be cheap.
No. And then Granicus, we had the whole conversation, and I think it was the April agenda, I'm not sure, where we talked about a system. You were going to find out estimates about storing the agenda, the calendar, and extend on the services that Granicus give us. But the cost here remains the same. So was that done? Do we have an estimate of what that's going to be?
So storing stuff on the website?
So you were tasked, and I think it was April, as a result for the issues related to the minutes and the videos in YouTube, etc., to find a system that can do what other municipalities do. And I think I have provided some examples of that. And the bottom line was to look into Granicus, which is a vendor that does this, to understand costs.
That's, the manager and I, that's the meeting that we set with the vendor. There'll be one of those 3 vendors that you would bring in for the presentation. All of that, they're like Granicus that we have now can do some of those things. It's a matter of turning on buttons, and some of it is a matter of purchasing another module.
Licenses,
one upgrade.
yeah.
So it'll be part of, they are
Part,
part
yeah,
of that
part of the upgrade to
upgrade
the website, yeah.
presentation.
So yeah, I just wanted to highlight it because you have it at the same cost. So I'm guessing that's going to require an additional budget, whether it's the website plus that separately. I don't know how that's going to work. I just wanted to flag it.
So the finance director was telling me we also had the website in the CIP.
Okay.
So that's where we had budgeted $50,000 for the website in the CIP.
50? 50.
We were looking at the Cadillac.
Okay. All right.
Really nice.
All right. Those were my questions on this side. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions on 31? Hearing none. Okay. 32. Look like these are locked in, Paul. Contractual. Good. Okay. Travel per diem. These were all related to the manager's contract that we talked about. Travel related per diem, is that specific to any? Is that just any in travel related per diem? It's just been zeroed out, like you said, Mr. Manager.
We're trying to save money this first year, so that's why we zeroed it out.
Okay. Any questions on 40? No? Okay. 41, communications.
Where does your GoGov, the app go? Where do you have that?
Where is it?
50, I think it,
The cost for the app? I couldn't speak specific. Do you know where we put them? It's not in here. We don't pay it now. It
well,
was-
the GoGov office, it's it's in line item 54008. Having it, I don't know if that's different.
Yeah, it's in spots.
54007 GoGov.
54007 and 54008 looks like GoGov.
Right, those are falling under a membership system. So
So AvNet, that's the annual cost for it? Because we're zeroed out for GoGov.
Yeah, so it seems like maybe it's misplaced that it shouldn't be put as a membership and dues, this part of our communication system. And it has no budgeted for or, adopted budget. So you might want to look into that.
yeah, I can tell that that's how it's listed, but it belongs in communications.
Okay.
GoGov one, well, both of those line items.
Yeah, GoGov crosses many fields, so their invoice doesn't have the ability to, it doesn't identify the type of service correctly. It just says service to the village.
Okay.
We can reallocate it.
Okay. I see the reduction in helium. Are there other questions on 41?
Contractual.
Yep.
It's contractual for a cell phone.
Yeah, so Commissioner, we're by the first reading, we'll put that into the budget. We'll move it from PD to administration.
Are there any other questions on 41?
No.
Okay. 42, postage and freight. Any questions there? No? Okay. Utilities, 43. Rentals and leases, 44. That's all the same. Commercial insurance. Flood insurance, that's the same thing as the Public Works building, correct, Mr. Manager? Okay. Repairs and maintenance. So I imagine the ADA walkway, that's CIP, obviously, right? Okay.
You, I'm sorry.
Sorry, 46, repairs and maintenance, the log cabin ADA walkway, something that's accounted for in CIP. All right, 47, printing and binding. We already did the resiliency guide. Okay. Any questions there? No? Okay. 48, promotional activities, legal advertising, municipal elections. Obviously that dropped. Any questions on 48?
Just
Your mic's off.
So for elections, we pay something, the Dade County, how come it's zero?
We do, but we don't have one scheduled.
Oh, we don't have a non-election, right? Okay, thank you.
Commissioner?
Legal advertising, have we moved over to the new system?
Yes, I am. This is the manual that they working on how to get it all.
Okay. So these costs we're seeing that's the reduction.
That's the reduction that we're seeing, Madam Clerk, the move over to the new system.
We're anticipating October 1st, we're going to the new system. Okay, perfect.
49. Any questions on 49?
Mariano, I wasn't on the commission. Why did we drop from for the North Miami Foundation, we dropped from 1,000 to 500? I wasn't on the commission for that. What was the reason for that?
I don't know. I don't think we haven't given, according to this, we haven't given them anything at all.
The Foundation for Seniors and the Pelican Harbor Foundation.
As at this point, we haven't given them anything.
I haven't seen an invoice, so I think they usually invoice us.
I don't know.
'Cause I
Or
think
may-
If it's an invoice, no? Yeah, these
A
are
It's
donation.
a donation to be made for both. So we made the commitment to give 1,000 for each one of the organizations. So that needs to happen for this fiscal. And what's the rationale about shrinking it for next year?
So in the previous years, did they?
previous years, we've been given about 1,000.
So I thought maybe at the beginning of the fiscal year that would have had gone out. But, yeah, we'll look into that, make sure.
Because I
that
would like. to
It's
see it go
budgeted
back
to get, yeah.
I would like to see it go back to 1,000 because I think both those organizations are good.
Well, and then I think Commissioner Gonzalez sent me,
Yeah,
Uh,
the Humane Society of Miami, which is right here, reached out about perhaps helping them with a donation as well. So, I'm good with giving them a donation as well. But it's up to the rest of you.
Oh,
if you wanna-
That I agree with you, especially with all the cats that we have in this area and they come and pick it up if we need to. So that's an organization that, and I think there's other organizations we can look at and see, because it makes the village look good when we make, that to do donations. We need to help other people.
yeah, I think the village, the commission needs to decide what's the dollar amount that you want to donate to the nonprofits. And then you need to decide which organizations you want to. And I'm familiar with one city that I think they do it the right way. They have a committee, and the committee establishes, they have a pool, maybe $5,000-$10,000. And then from that pool, they have the nonprofits apply for that grant. It's considered a grant, and they apply for that grant to determine how that grant is going to be used within the city or the village itself. That it's not, that money doesn't go back outside the village or city, that it's spent within the residents or cats or birds or whatever or whatever nonprofit organization it is, it goes back to the best interests of that city. So, that's one city that does it the right way.
So for me, I think that these are historical. These are two organizations that we've been giving money to for quite some time. So I'm good with, continuing that, with both of those, at the same dollar amount that we should have given them already, which is the 1,000. And I would be more than happy to add the Humane Society for $500, to this list of, organizations that I think, are very important to, not just to our community, but in general, to the welfare of humanity. So I'm good with that as well.
I support that. I think just leaving it at 1,000, and I support also the additional 500. I don't know if it's the Humane Society. The note I had brought was regards to TNR. We did an effort, not last budget, but the prior budget. I had requested 1,000 for TNR to work with the county animal services, so they do a mobile TNR. They come into the village and they help capture the cats and do the all the
They weren't
necessary.
charging us for that. It was really just a simple coordination of getting on their schedule. So there's no fee.
It didn't happen. So that what I'm saying is, whether it's the Humane Society that helps us with that, and we do on top of that the TNR collaboration with the county, it's a plus. So I'm in support with 1,000 for each and a 500 for, in this case, I don't know what the Humane Society is offering us. What's the exchange of the donation? But I think just, it should serve us with the TNR efforts regardless, and then we can coordinate also with the county.
While Art's looking that up, I'm completely fine with going back to the historical 1,000, and 500 for the Humane Society of was it Humane Society of Miami-Dade County? Yes, yeah, 163rd. Yes, I'm
Yeah.
completely fine with that.
I'm okay with that.
I like the idea of application for grants, but this is a small amount of money. I feel, it'd be strange to say, go ahead and apply for the $1,000 we traditionally give to you. So
Let me,
I do like the idea of resident input, because I'm sure there are other nonprofits, other foundations that our residents might feel strongly that we should donate to. And, if these are historical foundations we've been donating to, and hopefully we have been sending the money, then maybe it's time our residents give input on other organizations that it might be their time to share some of this money.
I agree, especially when we have family, a lot of families here.
I'll just, I'm sorry, go ahead. No, I was just going to read real quick what Commissioner Amsler had asked. So basically what she's saying is, I wanted to share our next fundraising event with you, Walk for the Animals. It's a great community event where hundreds of animal lovers come out for a fun day with their dogs and enjoy vendors, games, raffles, all to support the homeless animals in our community. So I was wondering if the Village of Biscayne Park would be one of our sponsors. The City of North Miami Beach, the City of Sunny Isle Beach are sponsoring again this year. You will get lots of exposure on all of our walks, social media posts, all of our printed material, and your logo will be on the t-shirts, and attendees receive, there's a variety of sponsorship levels, blah, 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 starting as low as $750, but they'll take anything. So if we don't want to do the $750, they'll, and this is an annual event that they do for support for homeless animals. So that's what it's all about.
Okay, so it's a specific event. We would sponsorship in a category. Sorry. Okay.
Mayor,
do we, yeah,
if I could. So I was just talking to the finance director. So the county has those Give Miami days
Mhm.
where for the nonprofits where you make a donation, they'll match it. So I think, if we were looking to maximize our donation, if we could look to do that in the month of November, it's usually when those occur. So, but this year we'll send it out, but
right.
in the upcoming year,
Do it on
to
Miami.
look to maximize the donation.
So then the idea would be to continue our historical to the North Miami Foundation for Seniors and the Pelican Harbor Foundation at 1,000, and then the 500 right now for the Humane Society of Miami-Dade County, and then with the intention of donating it, give Miami-Dade where we can have that donation double.
And I could recommend that we wait the 2025 money, hold it, and then add it to the, so in essence, we would budget this year's money, the $2,000, and do it in November, and that makes it
So
$4,000.
you're saying roll this 1,000 into next year's fiscal, then we're
Yeah.
donating 2.
If you wanted to really, but if you want to, and other advice would be to just start in November and go from there.
So long. Don't be surprised if it's interested doing my own position.
That's why you get paid the big bucks, Commissioner.
So do we want to wait to hold this 1,000 for this fiscal to give Miami-Dade in November, and then now instead of 2, we're effectively giving 4?
Yeah, Give Miami-Dade is it's a force multiplier with donations. They do the $1 million match where they match up to $1 million. I think it's a great idea to hold it until 2020 or 2025 money till 2026. So we maximize the dollar that impacts these foundations.
I would just ask that we owe them a call because they're probably
thinking.
expecting, that we commit with what we told them.
Okay, so we'll roll the 1,000 for these 2 charitable organizations into 26.
At the
Add the additional 1,000 that we budget every year. We'll plus the 500 for the Humane Society, and we'll push all that to these groups on Give Miami-Dade. Look, I like the idea of getting resident feedback. If we want to put another kind of charitable donation line item here of another $500, and then
I'm not saying we should do it this year. I think
Okay.
maybe it's a goal for next year is a really good idea to work through the year to
that's fine.
next budget season.
So then I think we have consensus on what we're going to do for the charitable donations for these 2 line items and the creation of a third line item for the Humane Society.
Pam, I sent you the information for this so you can share with the rest of the commissioners. You get a chance. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions on 49?
No.
Okay, good. 51 office supplies,
same.
6,000,
18 less pen.
18 less pens.
I mean, you have a significant amount without spend. Is that usually the spend we have yearly? If you can tell on the rest of the years, what is the average?
Well, just a second. So you were in the 6,500, 5,000, 6,400, as much as 9,000. And then this year you're way down. So there's something you're probably not buying is
No,
like
we
you
used to
outsourced.
we used to carry the budget for police.
Yeah, so
coverage,
that's been
and-
split up
and
better.
now it's been split out. It's been split up.
Used to just lump it into them.
So now are we dividing it? Are you saying that
Right.
it used to be 12 and now it's 6 and 6?
Yeah, we're actually taking the bill and splitting it by department as it's budgeted, and it's matching. So it's a lower number, so we can drop it to the 6,000. Should be fine.
Yeah, and Commissioner, we're no longer buying in bulk. We're just buying when we need items,
Yeah.
And we had a whole supply cabinet of just full of supplies
Pens
that,
and
yeah,
stuff.
so we're not,
Marker.
we're waiting till we're out of supplies.
Okay. 52, general supplies. Any questions? All right, 54, memberships and dues. All looks mostly unchanged. Yeah, we're moving those last 2 line items up to communications, correct, Paul?
Sorry, and then 52 general supplies, what was it different than the office supplies? What does it fall for? The 5,000? You have spent 1,000 so far?
If you need to buy a laptop, if you just other stuff than everyday office supply, things that are,
Okay.
Larger items. Okay.
All right.
So 54. With the understanding we're moving those last 2. Any other questions on memberships and dues? Okay. Education and training.
No.
Okay. And we are now down to the interfund transfer. Any questions here? Paul, is there anything you want to add to for context for that one? Thank you.
Just to give you a highlight, this is the accounting reality of moving some funds from your fixed budget into a different fund. So we book it here so you can see how we fund the CIP. That's the 129,000 this year. It's up to 211,000 because we are now in a pay portion of the freebie process, and that's the missing funds for freebie because we've exhausted the historic savings over the years that we were using to pay for the freebie. We've caught up to reality. Now we have to fund it. So we leave this line in here so you can see there's a general fund transfer fixed by contract into the freebie, and the 129 is exactly last year's decision to go into CIP. This will be where you would, at the end of the budget, say we were short $80,000 and we needed to find a place for it. It would come from that CIP transfer. It's not going to be the case this year. You're going to be in the surplus range, but that's how to look at that line.
Sorry, let me see if I understand. So you're saying this is what we need to this year fund the freebie amount because
And,
so yeah,
and last year's match of your own CIP,
which was how much?
129,000.
That's less.
That's why it's exactly the same.
Okay.
But to go up to 211, the difference is your new money that you have to spend to keep the freebie service.
Okay. And then the interfund for 82, that's the additional to fund it, you're saying?
Yep.
The total 211. Okay.
Correct.
Got it.
Yeah, it's broken down, but I just wanted to explain it.
And the 129 comes from 2025?
Correct. Just to keep apple to apple budgeting. This, usually you say we're not changing services. One of those services is that annual contribution to the CIP. So this budget reflects identical or service changes as identified. That's the procedure. So we could put it at 0 and you would have, $700 or $680,000 to decide what to do with at the end of the budget. But here we're just booking it to match last year.
Any luck convincing freebie to expand the drop-off area?
I don't know.
I know we talked about that.
Yeah, their response is that you can make a connection there to another freebie, So,
Convenient.
yeah, so like,
Okay.
Takes you an hour
so
to get
just-
to Aventura.
Right down the road.
Paul, we discussed a little bit this week about the capital projects fund and how, I know maybe I'm skipping ahead, maybe 30 minutes here, but how we see the capital projects that we have allocated for the next year fitting into that fund. Would it be safe to say that, like, say the state appropriations, the 415 with our $415,000 match should go into the capital projects fund, should be part of this transfer?
Correct. That'll come, the CIP fund will show that as where the source of the funds is. So you'll have your total CIP allocated or contracted. You'll have CIP proposed and you'll have CIP wish, to put it in simple terms, of projects. And then next to that, you'll have what comes from the general fund, what comes from grants, what comes from CITT, ARPA, wherever that fund will track where it gets its money from by definition.
So guys, I know we're a little ahead. I'm going a little ahead here, but this is where the transfer happens. I just want to earmark that when we talk about CIP, that we owe the state gave us 415,000. We have to spend 415 of our own money. We cannot commingle with another fund with ARPA or anything like that. It has to come out of our funds. So right now we're sitting at 450 surplus. I'm thinking that 450 surplus, 415 of that is going to have to go to this intertransfer to go to CIP, the Capital Projects Fund, to fund that project. Otherwise, you're making a considerable hit to the Capital Projects Fund that only right now sits at 570,000. I think that's where the bulk of our surplus is going to go, is in this just interfund transfer to pay for that state appropriations, because we have to pay it. We don't pay it, good luck getting another state appropriations ever again.
Yeah.
I know I'm skipping ahead a little bit, but that's
good.
where it's got to go.
Good point.
Good timing.
So,
Do you need to update this, Paul, in order to reflect that?
No,
Okay.
that's another topic is when we present you the draft one first reading budget, you'll have the whole picture in one place. You'll see the whole budget and you'll see at the bottom that surplus, and we can go ahead and do that and show it as, I can draft it either way. I can leave it undefined or put it there.
I mean,
Doesn't matter as long as
because-
we already know what it's for.
Right, we can categorize, if we can categorize and show it, so we're all very clear and specific on what the money's being used for, I think it would be good to earmark it. for
Yeah, I'll give you a balanced budget
visibility.
in essence, so you'll have a 0 at the bottom.
Yeah.
And I'll identify asterisk the things that are discretionary.
Okay.
Somewhat. And as the result of what you just said is that it'll all be in CIP. Right.
Okay. All right, last one for admin before we jump into the funds is the last page, contingency, septic tank maintenance and discretionary. Any questions on this one?
Are these the discretionary funds from the contract, the manager's contract?
Exactly.
Okay.
The 500 a month.
Okay. All right, so that wraps up admin. So we're into our funds. Oh, I'm sorry, commission. Well, I mean, nothing changed on commission. Do we have any questions about commission?
Missy, just like, in reference to, and I think it falls into the lead of cities, in reference to, education and training. Father leads the cities, gives commissioners any education and training that we might need, right? And any education material will come out of lead cities, right? Is it, yeah, education and training. I mean, me as a commissioner, I'm always open to education.
Well, I'm just trying to catch up.
No,
55,
B1,
55.
League of Cities, I believe, is a membership due.
Oh, that's it, yeah.
There's not.
So, but they don't offer education and training?
They do. They offer things for free, but it's not.
We're members.
Yeah, we're members. It's just a benefit of membership.
There are some programs that have a cost, but I think you would have to identify to understand,
Yes, they do have a course for elected officials.
yes.
Some of it is free, but most of it has some cost and it's travel involved.
Yes. It was in Orlando, I think now in August.
The Institute of Government.
Since we're on that topic, Microsoft licenses, in the same code 54, is that like, do we have a package for all city employees that gets access to Microsoft licenses, or is that a special thing for commissioners? Because I just use my own personal Microsoft. I'm not using
Yes.
a city.
I think
So-
that's through the Microsoft licensing. I think that's,
So it's just divided amongst how many people are users. I mean, personally, I'm not using, I use my own Excel, I use my own
Me too.
Word and things like that. So if it's,
right.
oh, Outlook's part of it, never mind. Be good.
Yeah, originally I think it was to extend because not everybody had the license in the commission. At least I didn't have it, so I would use the same suite that everybody else.
By all means, I'm not trying to cut it. I didn't realize it was something that was a benefit to us.
No, I just don't know that
personally.
we still need it.
Yeah.
To your point, I had a question mark to that. Do you need $500 for licensing in Microsoft? Is that something you're paying on a monthly basis?
Well, Commissioner, they said it's Outlook would be part of that. So if we cut it, we'd lose Outlook for.
Okay. Sorry.
Hang on to that one, please.
Another one I have is, if commissioners want to go to Tallahassee, because as
Yeah, I had
noted,
that
it says travel and it says 0. So
Yeah.
is that can work? Does that mean the commissioners have to pay that? The mayor does it a lot, but does that mean the commissioners have to pay that out of their own pocket?
Yeah, you did that this year. Didn't you have to sleep in the couch or something?
No, I just used up all my points. And stayed
Well, you
different-
shouldn't.
3 different nights.
Shouldn't. I think allocating for what, $1,000, $500. I don't know what that would entail, but certainly the Tallahassee trip needs to happen,
Yes.
and it should be accounted for whoever goes.
Because it says 0
I
here
don't
for
know.
travel.
I couldn't even.
No, I know. I mean,
We did
It
we
was-
did last. Yeah,
Like,
I
Dad.
I proposed it when I spoke to David and I said, when was the last time someone traveled? And he said years ago. And it was okay, maybe we allocated, I think it was 1,000, but that wasn't the year we travel. You travel this fiscal, right? So
Right, 'cause
So
or
that's why, we never used it. It kind of got removed, but I would be okay with for $500 just to help with whatever expenses that might come.
What was that number?
$500?
100? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought I heard
How about me?
4,500. I was like,
Yeah, it might
Yeah,
be a little-
No,
I
no.
think 500 pays for,
it might get you a night.
yeah,
It'll get you. it'll get you
maybe,
one
maybe
night.
flight up.
Did you fly?
Flight up.
I hitched a ride with David. Our lobbyist did me
Yeah,
did
so
me the
he-
solid of letting me
the
hitch
ma-
along for the ride up. It took
The,
him
ma-
9.5
the mayor
hours.
paid for all of it out of his own pocket, so he,
Yeah.
he drove up with our state lobbyist.
No, and I
And
think,
then-
it's a wrong message to do that. I think it's, it is important at the end of the day, the labor you did, being there with David, I think proves a lot. That is, we're behind what we're asking and we're a face to be seen and hopefully a recurrent one, so they know us. So I think that needs allocation. What is a considerable amount? I don't know what this would cost.
I don't think 500 is going to cover it.
Okay.
500, I'll have
Would
to
that
ask
be
David.
$1,000?
I'll have to ask David
I'd say probably closer to that, but yeah, we could ask him. I don't even remember what I paid per night. It just during during days. I mean, that's a whole different story. I mean, it's incredibly expensive, but
Really?
yeah, because
It is?
all of Dade County goes up for it, so there's
Mhm.
only so many places to stay
Yeah.
up there.
Yeah.
Um,
Everything goes up in price.
we could ask him and see what he thinks would be a good
We should
idea.
have something
Just to
for travel.
consider that of, I don't know, 1,500 or whatever it might be.
See what he says. I don't remember. I can even look back to find out what I spent on.
I would put 1,500 and then just have that check and see if that makes sense.
Is a holding spot, we can change it.
Where is that again?
40 travel and per diem.
Pretty, thank you.
I could put it, we could put it there as a line item and I can look at it. And
I think 1,500 is fine. I think even 1,500, you're probably still not going to be able to afford a whole trip. So anybody who, like, I have intentions to go to Tallahassee this year, and it's a commitment. You're going to have to pony up a little bit of those funds yourself. I think
Yeah,
there's a good
Helps.
gesture here, but
Yeah.
we're never going to be able to cover.
No, but I would like to see
Helpful.
the city pay some of it.
1,500 is fine.
1,500 is good.
put it down as that for now. Okay, great. All right, so any other questions on the commission before we move into funds? No. Okay, great. So, all right, let's take a look at our funds. Hang on. So obviously, Paul, looking at all of our available funds here, there's a couple that I think we can kind of summarily move forward on. I don't know, the ARPA for one, we know how much money came in ARPA. We know what the ARPA money is going to do.
It's already been decided.
It's already been decided.
Yep.
So I don't know that we have to go line by line through ARPA. Does anyone want to do that?
No.
Okay, I'm crossing these off. I wrote them down. Building fund, we can look at building fund, but again, it's
It's
not-
fixed.
It's fixed.
Fixed
It-
by
it zero-
contract.
Right, it zeros out. We can't change it.
There's a business management role that the manager has the discretion on how to possibly spend some of those funds. At some point, nothing is proposed today. You can't have a surplus,
Right,
or
exactly.
you can, but you have to have a
You have to-
plan for the surplus.
We had we did this. I remember.
I remember.
So
So no action needed.
is there, does anyone want to discuss building?
No.
No, okay. I'm gonna leave CIP to last just because that's where most
That's-
of our discussions
the
will
one.
be. CITT,
Just it's a fixed formula.
Right.
Your reporting is I don't have the latest on the reporting, but that's the only open item is to get the reporting caught up so that they transfer some funds, but it's all accounted for and already budgeted and planned. So there's no action.
okay?
I do have a question.
That 82 is the one we saw on the administration, the 82 on line 382, 381.
Right. That goes into the transportation section, which is you pay for your freebie.
I do have a question for CITT. Paul, I think last year you said there was a backlog of payments that were supposed to due to the village. Is that
Most of them are caught up. There's a couple pending right now, but nothing significant, and it's waiting for the last report to be
So,
acknowledged.
so what's in that fund is accurate to what,
Yeah.
pretty much what we're seeing right now. Okay.
Yeah, we've, 5 years ago, we hadn't spent any money. So now here we are in a place where we're wanting to spend it, but we haven't gotten it yet because the allocations, we've caught up to the allocations.
This one's a question mark for me, but I'll do this on a call. I mean, I don't
Sure.
have to, you know.
It's about as confusing as it can get.
Okay.
Okay, good.
It's mind-boggling how it's handled, but another story.
Okay, all right, so if we don't have anything else for CITT right now, police forfeiture,
So that's obviously your program with your task force and such, and as funds are received, it's a little more complicated than just a simple fund. There's 5 or 6 or 3 or 4 fixed bank account requirements, but we track it, and the police identify when we get funds, what it's for, what we can do with it, and it's tied to a very restrictive usage. And
right, we went over this a lot.
Brad likes to talk a lot about it.
Last, I'm not even gonna ask him, but do we have any updates on this? I mean, we were told that we were expecting money for a while,
Well, there was a time that we're not in compliance. So, even though, the former chief had gone through the training and everything, we hadn't submitted the necessary documents. We are now in compliance, so can receive some funds, but we need to still, I think we are looking to assign somebody to that task force so that we can be active in that task force. So that's our goal.
so we are eligible again. So to
Yes,
speak.
we're eligible again. Yeah.
And does that mean it had been represented to us a few
Yeah,
times.
it
that we were
doesn't
expecting-
mean we're getting $1 million. No, we're not getting $1 million.
What was probably in there when you were ineligible has already been distributed to the other partners, law enforcement partners that were entitled to it. So that money's likely gone.
So we missed the window.
Yeah, there was some money that we lost out.
Yeah,
The
there was.
village attorney is correct. We lost out on some money because we weren't in compliance.
I don't think it was $1 million.
No, it was,
There was
it
some,
was-
there was some, I know there was some administrative forfeitures.
yes,
There was a vehicle was one, there
Yeah.
was, I think, some jewelry, if I remember correctly.
yes.
But we were not in compliance. They don't distribute, and the Justice Department or the Treasury does not hold those funds until you get into compliance. So
It was just as simple as answering an email, Mayor. As simple as that.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Any questions on the forfeiture fund? Okay, so police fund,
So this, I believe, is the one that will reflect the off-duty funding in and out. As now that we're actually going to be generating a little bit, like $8,000 a month potentially off of the off-duty revenue, we'll be tracking it in its special fund.
that will be reflected within this budget.
Correct, in the 26 budget.
Okay.
I think she might have added it because we started getting revenue, so we added it this month.
Okay, any questions on police fund?
So that's currently at a $5 an hour surcharge.
Talking about off-duty police revenues.
Yes, yeah, that's currently a $5 an hour surcharge. That's been historically, has been $5 an hour. We weren't collecting it. That's something that we should look at increasing in the future, though.
$5 an hour is year to date netted us about $176,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
That's the pass-through, and so you'll look at the bottom, you'll see there's a net.
I just closed it.
That's all right. You can trust me. There's
I do.
the net amount will start to accumulate, and then you'll have a business decision what to do, transfer it, whatever.
Okay. Any questions on police fund?
Mr. Manager, is there any idea what's the total number of hours worked was for the police officers last year?
Last year? Well, we weren't
this
tracking
fiscal-
it, so
this fiscal-
yeah,
weren't tracking it.
we had no idea. We weren't
We
tracking it.
know we're gonna collect
So-
$5 an hour, but we don't know how many hours.
Right, there
worked.
were officers that were working that weren't,
They weren't reporting.
they were passing it through to the village, so we had no idea. You know,
think that would be a good thing to know is how many hours were, so that way we can see what the potential revenue would be versus increasing, staying the same.
Forecast.
Yeah, you could forecast or try to, or just see
Right.
an average.
So I looking at the checks, so we had one officer that made $15,000 for last month, in 1 month. So you just figure out the hours
Yeah,
from
he's
that.
working on it out.
All right. Road fund?
Road fund is formulaic based in backwards formulaic, which means that we take the amount of money that they have penny tax and the road taxes makes about $80,000 to the village. And it's really part of public works. It really just pulls fixed amounts out of public works that are eligible. And there's nothing you can do differently about it. We don't even, it only goes up a few hundred to $1,000 year to year. So
Any questions from the commission on road fund?
I do too. That would be a phone call.
okay, anytime.
Sanitation?
You already passed it.
Any questions?
Doesn't matter. Maybe
Nicely done.
future years. I already put it on your tax bills.
All right, so CIP, it's our last one. So, Mr. Manager, Paul is kind of forecasted for us or previewed for us that, our CIP is going to be sufficiently detailed. When are we planning on updating that and getting that out for first read?
Definitely. I think I have it. Yeah, I have it open here. I thought we circulated it. I know you had a copy of it, of the fund. The CIP fund is being completely consolidated and tracked. We need to add a couple of elements to it where it not only is it the money that's in it, but what are those sources and what requires a match. We're going to pop that out so it's obvious, give it its own column. And then the next piece is year 1, year 2, year 3, and inside each year is what is actually already contracted. And so what we're doing is we're blending construction management, public works, and accounting into one spreadsheet so that you can snapshot what is actually happening. Because a lot of things that are proposed are meaningless to accounting, correct? Right? Like we track what you have spent. So this fund is going to have attachments to it that fill in that color. And so the list that the manager sent to you with the list of items is consolidated more than I'm describing. This will blow up into a wider picture where you'll see grant funds, you'll see what kind of grant funds, and if there's a match requirement and the costs. And there'll be lines drawn where you know what you've already contracted because you've contracted some of these projects already. This commission or your predecessors have approved them.
Which one did you send regarding the CIP that you're saying?
It's a Word document. It was just the other day. Oh, okay.
We were going back and forth, so I was sending it to the.
But is your expectation is to have a presentation just like the other departments? Is that the idea? Okay, because that's where I think this
So
is
it
what
was, let me answer, Commissioner. So it was just, we were talking about what projects we have coming up. So we wanted to identify those projects and make sure there's a list of it and what grant money was coming in. And then what money we would have to pull from the general fund or other sources to fund those projects. So we made a list of the projects that we anticipate that we'll be working on 25, 26. It's just looking at the first one is the log cabin, the roof, the ADA. So there's a grant for $78,108, and that's a matching grant. We'll need $78,108 from the general fund or CIP. The log cabin lighting, that's not funded. We estimate maybe $50,000 for that expense. And then the stormwater from the state, we're getting a grant of $415,000. Of the general fund, we were asking for $500, a little bit more than the match to make sure we have an adequate project. And then to stormwater, ARPA, we have $1 million in the general fund for that project. So it just goes down the list.
And when do we receive that?
I have to make one final correction and then I can send it out tomorrow.
The thing that for me, the bulk of the conversation is, yeah, and I think I put that for you both initially as to what I was hoping to see is what was projected to do, right? We had a CIP we approved in October. What did we do and what's pending? And so what's pending becomes urgent, right? Because we said we were going to do this last year. So that's the number one, how I see it. And then what's left with the money we've got plus ARPA, how does that structure in terms of phasing, timing, and available budget? Because a lot of this we might need to match.
Well, I think the ones that are urgent, Commissioner, are the ones that we've got the money for.
Correct.
And we've got to spend it within this upcoming budget year.
Correct.
So those are the ones that are urgent,
Yeah.
you know.
Which are the ones approved again in October. So
You know, some of those weren't approved in October. I mean,
Okay.
some of those are like the appropriations that we just got. So that money needs to be,
because we have a deadline as well.
Right, and the ARPA money, we need to spend that money.
So I think it's matching both what we've got as urgent this year plus what's left from last year, and then what we got left and what can we do.
And future projects that are in the queue. There's sort of a queuing going on of projects that like phase 7 of your stormwater, or, you know, it goes down, it keeps going. So it's a complicated bunch of data to present and be true to accounting principles. So we're working on it. I have it.
Okay.
I have the finance perfectly. It's just merging the project list and the status of those projects into one document.
All right, so we can't have the conversation of that until we see it. Would that be for the next meeting?
Yeah, and backing up a little bit, my caution is this is a budget process, not your capital improvement project process. You're just deciding how much funds you have to give to CIP. That's it. That's, you know, the bigger picture is what you do 12 months of the year, from
Yeah,
my
but you sort of
standpoint.
need to have the strategy ahead so that you can allocate the right money.
Yeah,
for
we
it.
always want everything perfect for our future, but that's not what you have. You have where you are, and then in accounting, you fund what you want, and then that picture of the future comes clearer every day. Like you can't do your whole budget process and plan all your capital projects at the same time. Like that's way too much.
So we did that in October, right? We approved the CIP.
That's exactly right. Yeah. So
That's what I'm saying.
yeah.
So
October, when you say October, that's the beginning of the year.
beginning of a year, right before
Exactly.
our second budget hearing,
That's
we
September.
approved
Okay,
it.
we're good.
So we'll get there with the same sort of detail. Is that what you're saying?
To a degree, I don't know the projects well enough to tell you where they
Right.
are. Like, but I think what I'm asking is to segregate the two jobs. The knowing how much money you have, allocating it for your ad valorem and your annual operating amount is a very different cycle than capital projects. Capital projects, each year you decide what you can and want to fund them, what you're going to do with it, what you decide. That's a whole separate decision process that comes to you project by project, if that makes sense. You're not approving the project, you're not letting a contract, you're just deciding how much money to keep putting into the CIP fund, not every detail about every project. You're never going to have that. It just doesn't work. Does that make sense?
But that's why I'm confused, because that's what we had approved in the CIP and the Excel that we did last budget season. Am I not following you? So we hadn't.
There's different levels of approval, right? There's a contract that you approve to sign. That's a resolution that comes to you through your requisition requirements. That's not what CIP approval in your budget process does.
Right.
All that does is allocate funds and what source of those funds.
So got it. So we're talking about the same thing, different perspectives.
Yeah.
For me, in order for you to allocate budget to the CIP, you need to understand what we want to accomplish.
Right.
Then the question will be where the money comes from, whether it's CIP, general fund.
Yeah. So
What do we want to accomplish?
So that's what I'm trying to describe is you have existing projects that are already contracted,
Yes.
and what funds will show that the funding you already, and this is tricky because you have historic funds involved, whereas the rest of the budget, it's just that year each time, right? So we have all the funds tracked from 23, 24, 25. It's about $600,000 right now sitting in there. And it's, your budget will say how it's allocated to finish the existing projects and proposed projects fiscal year 26. And then you're going to have 27, 28, 29. Like you need to start looking at the CIP as not just an annual snapshot, because it's not annual. It's got historic funds, it's got current year funds, and we don't know when it's going to be spent. So we try to just say, okay, this is the amount of money that hits CIP this year. And there won't be new money unless a grant or something. But you see what I'm saying? So you have a, I'm trying to keep it in a constrained decision-making process that's reasonable and going to be effective. Is this is how much money your budget finished with after you adopt your first reading, your second reading, I'll have that number down tighter. And then you say how much into emergency funds, how much into just unassigned funds, and how much into CIP. So that's the job, is picking how much to give each bucket. Not whether the project's worthy. You're not authorizing a project. You know, you have an infinite number of things in your CIPs. That's why it's impossible, because you can't
You're whittling us
digest it.
down to a number,
Exactly.
which is going to also include the surplus from the carryover from the last fiscal. And then we would decide what amount goes into CIP, what amount goes into reserve and emergency.
Right. So like this roof, we know that we have to do this roof. So there's $78,000 that we'll have to put into this roof. We're talking about doing, as we're doing the roof, we have to do outdoor lighting. It's been talked about, so forth, and the ADA walkway. So there's expenditures for that. We know that we have to do stormwater, that there's $415,000 for stormwater that we've got, and we've got to match that money or exceed it a little bit to do a substantial project. So we know that has to be done, you know, and there's others like that. We know we have to do it this year. So that's what Paul was trying to say.
The point that
And
you
there's
make.
so many pieces of the pie, and there's each of you probably had different projects that are priorities for you, but you know, there's just so much that money that can go around. So
Well, we got to fund it, right? We got to fund
have
it.
to
before
fund
we
it.
talk
We-
about
but
priorities and-
we tried to talk about that at strategic planning session when we spent the 2 days. We talked about, hey, okay, for the upcoming budget, what are the priorities you would like to see? What are those ones you would like to see budgeted for the upcoming year?
And to the point you made, a sizable amount of that money is already going to be allocated to match the appropriation.
We have to
Right.
spend the 415 somehow from someplace.
I think where I go in circles in this is that the purpose of the CIP, as we've seen it before, is also to contemplate long-term vision, not just this fiscal. And so I think the moment you start thinking about what was remaining from previous projects, you know, then you're losing the long-term visibility, because you're talking about this year's number and what we're going to do. And the truth is, we have roads, and that's not going to happen in 1 year. So how do we contemplate what we need to do today and sort of set aside and what process needs to happen in order to include it in a 5-year plan or 10-year plan? And I think I understand 100% the idea for this budget is to have that remain and then decide what we do it. I'm not comfortable with moving into that with no strategy besides this year. And I think that's sort of the visibility we gather. Whether it was right or wrong, the numbers, you know, that's a different story. But when we had all those discussions about CIP, were about the long term. And, you know, not everything was going to happen, but we had at least an idea of where we stood. So that's why I'm hoping we can land making that decision this year, but having an understanding of how that affects following years as well.
The way that I foresee it happening, and I may be wrong, but you know, when we have that money, we're going to get a breakdown. You know, that's going to give us a larger snapshot of where the progress is for a lot of these, because a lot of these are long-term projects. To the point you're trying to make, I think I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Oh, no, yeah.
But you know, drainage is a long-term project.
Yeah.
Rec improvements, parking, you know, a lot of these have been going on for a long time, and they, you know, going back all the way back to the strategic plan where we got resident input. You know, that's where this all kind of
Correct.
the genesis of all this stuff. So it's kind of a hand-in-hand process where, you know, we can fund the projects that are multi-phase projects that do have an eye towards the future, that just need addressing immediately with the money that we have. And we already know, like we said, that a lot of this money is already going to be allocated for drainage, which is necessarily a short and long term. So I agree with you that we do zoom out, so to speak. You know,
Yeah.
we do want to know where we are with all of these projects that we've all discussed in the past. But the reality of it is too that we're going to have some short-term stuff right in front of our face that we're going to have to fund.
Correct.
So it's a hand-in-hand discussion.
Mhm.
And I think once we know how much is going into CIP, once we have the more clear picture of what that number is, then we can have that conversation. But you're right, it's a little bit of an end around sort of scenario where we have to find out how much we have, but we also have to decide what we want to do with it, and we have to figure out how it fits in the short and the long term. So it's
Yes.
a bit of a moving target. But to the point that I think that you're trying to make, Paul, I think we'll have a clearer picture on what projects are in the works, what projects have money already allocated to them, which ones we're required to allocate money to. And then just like we did last year, I guess have, that conversation with CIP in October to say, where are we now and where are we going? If that makes any sense at all.
Yeah, I think you gotta remember that there's the capital projects plan and capital projects fund. We're funding the fund to execute the plan.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that in my opinion, the plan needs a major overhaul. I think that there's a lot of projects on there that are just there's probably not consensus to do them anymore. You could probably go down the list pretty quickly and scratch things off, add things. And I hope we get there in strategic planning this year and we actually do that overhaul of CIP. But yeah, we just got to get to that line item of how much we spend with understanding that 415 has got to come from someplace.
Yeah.
So surplus to me is, I mean, I don't think we're taking it out of the general fund and I don't want to take it out of the capital projects fund without putting something back in there.
Yeah.
Because that's our future. That's the plan's future. So you have to fund the plan.
Yep.
So I'm fine with it. I think that we'll see that at the end. I will hope that FERDAP 2026 has some mention in there because ISA needs a new playground.
Agreed. So, any final comments there, Paul or Mr. Manager? They only asked because it looked like you were doing something.
I would tell you all, when you're going grocery shopping, don't go hungry. Right. So there's all this list that we want to get done, but there's only so much money in our budget to get them done.
Yep.
So, but we'll share this with you tomorrow.
Okay.
Just for the residents, so what's happening in October, in September? Gonna be the first- That's where the residents.
The September meeting, we'll have the first reading of the budget. And then I guess the concentration on that will probably be discussion about the CIP list and what should be funded. But then we'll have the amended proposed budget, which will include the items that were talked about tonight and the items that were talked about at the first workshop.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
So the September meeting will be if we have any changes in the budgets. I think I heard Commissioner Amser was saying changes in budget will be done at the September meeting, right?
No, the changes you should have already talked about at these two workshops.
There will be
So-
some, I mean, we've.
Yeah,
talked about some
those
additional
changes you talked about the workshop,
Right.
Paul and I will get together and make those amendments to the budget and bring back a proposed budget to you with those changes. And the only pending item will be talked about, will be the CIP, the list of CIP, what should be funded.
And you anticipate by the first reading that we'll have a kind of clear picture on the amount available, so to speak, to roll into each of those?
Yeah, so the moving targets are your current financial status.
Right.
So the draft budget will be updated with the most recent financials. So the goal is to have through July, which is kind of hard to do, but we can try.
Yep.
We haven't always gotten it because of the timing. The second piece is as we, so that can affect you. You'll see a total amount of money projected of savings from this current year. You always have 100, 200,000, somewhere in that range. And this year, probably a little higher.
Yeah.
Of money that we'll put on a plate for you that goes to your decision making. And then you'll have the budget, the balanced budget with what's not allocated. That'll be on another plate. And then you'll have your existing reserves. And those reserves are previously proportioned by emergency, untouchable, and unassigned reserves. You still have that piece of the equation to decide. So you'll get to pick, what bucket do I want to fund CIP, lower the millage, higher the millage, like all of those decisions are at your discretion.
Okay.
To within limits, obviously.
Okay,
Right, so this budget is setting your millage at 9.3,
correct, right.
okay?
I recall, yes.
So, yeah, keep that in mind.
Okay. Any other questions? No? All right, well, we will be in adjournment and
I make a
meet again
motion,
next week.
make a motion to adjourn.
So I don't think we're in a workshop, so I don't think we need it. All right. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, we just walk out.